Chapter 6:11. Now, she felt that it was not good to be strong. It was good to be weak. When you were weak, you could see that there was a strong man by your side who held up the sky for you. She did not believe that a marriage without love could not last long. Jiang Zhao could hold up the sky for her. As long as she had time, she would slowly draw Yi air and white clouds in that sky and decorate it into a beautiful scenery. She needed time. When she had time, he would be there. Jolie returned to the south dejectedly. She did not want to return in defeat. She had already promised Yuan Shichang that she would do her best. She did not want Yuan Shichang to hurt Yi air. As expected, Yuan Shichang flew into a rage after asking about it. His violent personality was rarely displayed in front of Jolie. To Yuan Shichang, it was a bolt from the blue that he did not have a successor. If his Jingzi had a higher survival rate, he would not have wasted this effort. As long as there was a woman, he would not be afraid that she could not give birth to his child. However, there was only one child out there. He raised his hand and was about to slap Jolie's face. Jolie looked up and said fiercely, "Hit. If you hit me, we'll break all ties." Yuan Shichang immediately restrained himself. "Shaoli, I didn't want to hit you. I'm just angry. It's useless. Let me tell you. Let's do artificial insemination." Yuan Shichang suddenly felt that his self-esteem had been violated. Artificial insemination. I have a son. Why do I have to do that? I won't do it. You. Jolie sat on the sofa and bounced. She crossed her arms and leaned back. You're unreasonable. Yuan Shichang said angrily, are you going to be like before, leaving after meeting me? When did I? Jolie stood up. I already told Jiang Zhao that Si Jia is not Yun Hongwei's son, but Jiang Zhao refused. What do you think I can do? You actually told him. Yuan Shichang was stunned. That's good. It's good that he knows. But even if he knows, he won't give it to me. Yeah, I already asked him to help me, but he said that a day as husband and wife means endless devotion for the rest of your life. He meant that I should not disturb Yi air and the rest in the future. Jolie sighed helplessly and sat down again. She was a little anxious. After sitting for less than half a minute, she stood up again and went to get herself some water. Jiang Zhao is a scourge. How could Yunyi find such a powerful backer? No, I have to get them to divorce. Once they're divorced, it'll be easy to snatch custody. Otherwise, it'll be really troublesome. Jolie was holding a cup of water to drink when she suddenly choked. Jin Chang. After shouting, she kept coughing until her face was red. Yuan Shichang walked over lazily and patted her back. Why are you so agitated? What I said was the truth. Jiang Zhao was in the middle. If he really helped Yunyi get custody, even if I was Si Jia's biological father, he would think of something. So how do you think we can snatch it? After all, I haven't fulfilled my responsibility as a father all these years. If Si Jia doesn't agree, it will be really difficult. But you can't let them get a divorce. Jolie stopped coughing and slammed the cup in her hand on the table. Yi air finally has the life she has now. If she gets a divorce, she'll have nothing. She's not even 20 years old yet, and she's still studying. If she gets a divorce, how can she continue her studies? Where will she live? I'll give her a house, provide for her studies, and buy her a real estate. As for money, I'll give her more. What do you think? Jolie's brain suddenly short-circuited. She laughed and said in a way that she thought was kind. Sure, as long as she has a stable life in the future, anything is fine. I'm just worried that she'll have to suffer again. Qing Su had been sent back to her own ward. She wanted to tell Yi air, but Min Hongxing would never allow her to get out of bed and walk around again. Even if she wanted to thank Yi Er, she would have to wait until she was better tomorrow. He felt that if Ching Su were to cause trouble again, the person in the emergency room wouldn't be Ching Su, but him. He was old and couldn't act like a young person. He couldn't afford to cause trouble. Ching Su lay in bed. She was really bored, so she took a pen and paper and started to draw on the table. She was thinking about the man in the afternoon. That disgusting man dressed like a vagrant singer. He was wearing a yellow leather jacket and a woolen hat that seemed to have been worn for a long time. The brim of the hat covered his eyebrows, but his eyes looked like a cold-blooded animal. They were cold and murderous. The beard on his face was strung together. Although it wasn't thick, it was still obvious. His nose was very high, and there was a hook at the tip. His nose looked like a foreigner's. His upper lip was slightly thicker than his lower lip. Chin, what did his chin look like? Ching Su was drawing in boredom. Min Hongxing wanted to urge her to rest, so he walked over and asked softly, Ching Su, what are you drawing? Ching Su supported her chin with her small hand and looked at the half-drawn face on the paper. She frowned and said, I'm bored, so I'm drawing. After Yun Hongwei was sent to the ward, Jiang Zhao forced Yi Er to go back to his room to sleep. Si Jie refused to go home alone, so Jiang Liqing brought him back to the villa where the commander of Xing Nan Road's army lived. Jiang Zhao and the old director had agreed that he would go to the monitoring room after he was done with the matter and get the staff to cooperate with him. The old director couldn't bear to wait and went home early to rest. When Jiang Zhao arrived at the monitoring room, it was almost 12 o'clock. Frames of images flashed by. According to Yi Er's description, the man's balaclava was pulled down very deeply, and he was wearing a yellow leather jacket. He actually had a work pass hanging on his chest. He swaggered into the hospital. Jiang Zhao asked, how many types of work passes are there? The technician answered truthfully, there are official jobs and temporary jobs. Temporary jobs. Yes. Jiang Zhao said, haven't temporary jobs been abolished by the labor law? The technician didn't know how to flatter people. He was an honest technician, so he was always the one working overtime and the one getting promoted was always someone else. But aren't the positions in the government also divided into internal and external staff? Isn't it just a formal job and a temporary job? In other words, it's just a legal violation of the labor law. Jiang Zhao was a person who had a status to back him up wherever he went. No matter who it was, they would always give him some face. Even if the old director here didn't want to show him the surveillance footage, he would still be polite. But in the end, as long as his attitude was firm, he wouldn't be able to change his mind. This young man looked like a hothead. He actually dared to say something like that. That's also different. How could Jiang Zhao admit that the difference between internal and external staff was the same as that between official and temporary jobs? Different? What's the difference? The fundamental difference between official and temporary workers is the difference in treatment. Both internal and external staff are also treated differently. Academic results are calculated based on grades and rankings, while work results are calculated based on salary. Jiang Zhao asked again. What about that image? Is this man's work pass official or temporary? The technician zoomed in on the screen, but the image was not clear. I can't see clearly. The biggest difference between official and temporary is that one has blue font, and the other has green font. The work pass is covered with a plastic cover, and it's a little reflective. I can't see the color clearly. Jiang Zhao rubbed his chin and asked, where did he get this work pass? If he is a criminal, he might have stolen it, robbed it, or found a fake ID from a telephone pole and spent 20 renminbi to get it. Jiang Zhao looked at the image and zoomed in slowly. When the work pass started to shake, the technician paused and zoomed in. After listening to the technician's serious reply, he felt that this person was suitable to be a technician. He was not tactful and would say whatever he wanted to say. Just because he was the mayor, he did not try to flatter him. He was a good technician. Have you ever thought of changing your job? If there is a job with better pay and more stability, I will change. Jiang Zhao and the technician were chatting, but both of them were looking at the screen seriously. What an honest man. Yes. The party teaches us to seek truth from facts. You joined the party. No. Anyway, I am not working for the machinery department. Why should I join the party? Stop. Jiang Zhao shouted, and the technician immediately stopped the image. Jiang Zhao saw the man turn his head and zoomed in on the image. But he still could not see the man's face. The mask on his head was pulled down, and he was walking with his head lowered. The technician also showed the video of Yi Er giving the wrong medication. That nurse entered the elevator from the underground parking lot. Her license plate was blocked, and she went straight to the nurse's room. She then pushed the trolley into Yi Er's room and went straight to the underground parking lot. She did not even change out of her nurse uniform. When the trolley left the hospital, the person driving was not wearing a pink nurse uniform. She should have taken it off, or there was someone else waiting for her. But that nurse's uniform was just right for her. She was tall and did not look like a woman. We don't have such a tall nurse in our hospital, the technician said. When Jiang Zhao heard the technician say that, he finally confirmed that Yi Er's life was in danger at any moment. Someone could want her life at any moment. Who was this person? Today. That man went into Yi Er's room and then left. He then knocked on Ching Su's door. This was too strange. What was the connection? Perhaps the nurse's walking posture was purposely awkward, but after zooming in on the same two heads, one of them had fairer skin and the other had darker skin. It was not done by the same person. As Jiang Zhao thought about this, a chill ran through his heart. He started to feel uneasy. He cuffed the man's part and took it away. When he returned to Yi Er's room, he reached out to touch Yi Er's nose. She was breathing. He felt that he was being too sensitive. He then went to the duty room to remind Yun Hongwei to inform him immediately if anything happened. When he returned to Yi Er's room, he locked the door, took a shower, and went to bed. Jiang Zhao had just come out of the bathroom and wanted to sleep with Yi Er. He would only feel at ease if he hugged her. But before he could crawl into bed, there was a knock on the door. Ching Su was shouting outside the door. Jiang Zhao, open the door. Help me. I drew a picture. Help me. Welfare, Songshu 566. Chapter 612. Jiang Zhao did not dislike Ching Su for being noisy, but he disliked her for being so noisy at the wrong time. At this time, everyone was already asleep, and Yi Er was already asleep. She knocked on the door indiscriminately. When he went to open the door, he heard Yi Er asking in a daze, "Who's here?" Jiang Zhao frowned. How annoying. Ching Su was shouting for Jiang Zhao to help, but when she heard Yi Er's voice, she immediately crawled under Jiang Zhao's arm and jumped onto Yi Er's bed with the drawing in her hand. She asked excitedly, "Sister Yi Er, I drew a picture. Look, look. Isn't this man the pervert who wanted to strangle me this afternoon?" When Jiang Zhao heard this, he quickly closed the door and strode back to Yi Er's bedside. When he saw Yi Er suddenly frown when he looked at the drawing, he quickly took the drawing from their hands. When he looked at it, he also frowned. He looked down at the small child kneeling on Yi Er's bed and could only be described as speechless. Ching Su, is this a drawing of a person? No wonder Yi Er kept frowning when he looked at it. How could it not be difficult? Shouldn't Si Jie be better at drawing? How is it not? It has a nose and eyes. I've never drawn before, but I think it's quite good. It's very lifelike. After saying this, she shook Yeer's arm. Sister Yeer, don't you think so? I should go to university to study art, right? I think I have the talent of an artist. Yeer laughed dryly. Ahem, you do have the talent of an artist. Jiang Zhao looked at the elementary school level drawing in his hand and added, Qing Su, you can definitely become an abstract artist in the future. A master of art. Qing Su got off the bed and stood beside Jiang Zhao. She took the painting from his hand and said, Thank you for your compliment. I will work hard. Jiang Zhao looked at the portrait in Qing Su's hand, and an idea suddenly flashed through his mind. Qing Su, did you draw this portrait based on that person's appearance? Yes. I'll call someone over tomorrow. You guys watch him draw and try your best to draw that person's face completely. Yeer nodded and agreed. However, Qing Su said, Are you complaining that my drawing isn't good enough? You're doing freehand brushwork. Tomorrow, I'll find someone to do a realistic painting. You can learn from them. Why do you want to go further than what's close at hand? Isn't Yunwu good at drawing? Why don't we just ask him to come over and draw? Qing Su gave the best suggestion. Jiang Zhao said coldly, Qing Su, go back and rest early. I'll make the arrangements. Qing Su didn't even know what was going on before she was chased away. How would she know that Jiang Zhao hated Yunwu? Qing Su returned home dejectedly. She took the painting back to her room. Min Hongxing, who was about to go to bed, asked, Qing Su, did you go next door just now? Qing Su nodded and said unhappily, Yeah, let Jiang Zhao see the murder I drew. Min Hongxing was shocked. Come, let daddy see. Qing Su actually didn't like Min Hongxing sleeping in her room. She didn't need anyone to accompany her, and she would press the call bell if she needed anything. However, Min Hongxing insisted that he wouldn't care about her after she was discharged from the hospital. Moreover, during the days when she was in a coma, he was the one who accompanied her in bed. Qing Su didn't know why, but her brain short-circuited and she agreed to it. This feeling was really strange, and she wasn't used to it. She handed the painting in her hand to Min Hongxing. When Min Hongxing saw it, the corners of his mouth twitched imperceptibly. Then, he immediately smiled and said in a voice full of praise, I really didn't expect my baby girl to have a talent for drawing. After you're discharged, Daddy will find you a famous teacher to teach you. Maybe our family will have a female artist in the future. Daddy stinks of money. If we have a female artist, we'll bring honor to our ancestors. Qing Su turned her face away. Who will bring honor to your ancestors? My surname is Liu. After saying that, she couldn't help but laugh. Oh right, there's no need to hire a teacher. I think Yunwu's drawing is pretty good. Why don't you go and ask Grandpa Shi to teach me how to draw? Min Hongxing was stunned. A few days ago, he thought that his daughter was in love with Jiang Zhao and always wanted to run next door. He was worried that she would fall in love with a married man. Why did she suddenly fall in love with Shi Yunwu? However, that kid from the Shi family wasn't bad. He was good-looking and had a good family background. He was a good match for his daughter. Thus, Min Hongxing's brain started to think like it was infected with a virus. Okay, Daddy will go and talk about this tomorrow. Is that okay? Okay. Qing Su thought for a while and said, Also, I actually want to learn how to do business and earn more money in the future. Why don't you ask Qin Fian to teach me how to do business? Min Hongxing felt that his brain needed to be reinstalled. This girl wanted to have a foot in two boats. That's not good. Qin Fian is Jiang Zhao's cousin. We should avoid contact with the Qins and the Jiangs. Why? Sister Yi Er and I are quite close. In any case, don't interact too much with him. Ching Su sighed and said, Min Hongxing, I think you can be quite childish at times. You should have taken the initiative to reconcile the matter between Min Zikai and Yi Er's sister. Even I know that it's easier to make enemies than to make enemies. Even I know that Jiang Zhao's family background is strong and powerful. But why do you have to be as smelly and stubborn as a rock in a latrine? Although you may not be able to be friends with the Jiang and Qin families, you can't be their enemy either. How can you do business like this? Ching Su was impulsive and loyal, but she wasn't stupid. Moreover, she had been in society for a long time and could see the fickleness of human nature. She could even feel the need to be hospitalized. In the past, when she was poor, she would line up to go see a doctor and the doctor would be expressionless. Now that she was rich, she had to stay in a ward alone when she was sick. The ward was even bigger than her and her mother's house. The attitude of the doctors and nurses was very good. Although she didn't curry favor with people from rich families, she wouldn't deliberately cause trouble or make enemies with them. Of course, it was a different story if they provoked her. But Min Hongxing's attitude was obviously not good. Jiang Zhao didn't have a bad temper and treat her badly, but Min Hongxing had always been resistant to the matter between Yi Er and Jiang Zhao. Min Hongxing was surprised for a moment. He never expected Ching Su to say such things. He also never thought that Ching Su's mind would suddenly become so mature. He was suddenly gratified. Ching Su, Daddy knows. It's just that some things aren't as simple as you think. It's not the right time to tell you now. Some things, whether it's friends or enemies, can't be resolved easily. You'll understand in the future. Daddy will slowly teach you how to do business in the future. When Ching Su heard Min Hongxing's dogmatic words, she didn't say anything else. She also felt that she had said too much today. She pulled the blanket away, took off her shoes, and crawled in. She pulled the blanket over herself and went to sleep. Yi Er leaned into Jiang Zhao's arms. Jiang Zhao couldn't sleep. He could feel that Yi Er was also moving around at this time. If it were any other time and she was moving around in his arms like this, he would definitely not be able to control himself and want to do her. But today, he really wasn't in the mood at all. When he thought about what happened in the afternoon in Zhou, he didn't have the mood to do that at all. The woman's back was pressed against his chest. Her spine felt as if it was touching. She had lost weight during this period of hospitalization. Yun Yi, tell me, what kind of family would be happy? When Yi Er heard Jiang Zhao's voice, it sounded a little distant and a little cold. She was a little uncomfortable. If she was uncomfortable, then so be it. At most, she wouldn't turn around and look at him. She thought about her own wishes. She wanted to have him, take him down, and make him hers. From his body to his heart, she wanted to nibble at him step by step. When she thought about how he would fall in love with her someday, her heart was as sweet as honey. Even her voice became a little softer, and there was a hint of happiness in it. I think that a family with love would be happy. Jiang Zhao listened to Yi Er's voice. It was as if it wasn't real. Her voice was like a sandwich dessert. With one bite, it was soft, sticky, and sweet. Even with his eyes closed, he could feel the clouds in the sky being sprinkled with sugar. That cloud was extremely blissful. She said that a family with love would be happy. The word love. Did this word make her feel so comfortable? What if it's like us? Jiang Zhao thought to himself. If he said it too directly, would it spoil the atmosphere a little? Yi Er's heart sank. The happiness from before was swept clean. Suddenly, she felt a little down, and her back stiffened for a moment. If a man hugged you and asked you, would a family like ours be unhappy without love? If he asked you that question, how would you answer? At this moment, Jiang Zhao was hugging Yi Er. He could feel the reaction of her stiffening back, and he sighed softly in his heart. Yi Er took a deep breath. She should sort out her emotions and not let them fluctuate too much. He hugged her from behind, his arms circling around her chest. Her hand reached over and rested on his wrist, gently caressing it. Even though the scene from before was gone, after a moment of silence, she suddenly had a new answer. I think we will be happy. Before we got married, I said before that marriage doesn't necessarily require love. I think responsibility is also very important. As long as the two of us are willing to protect this family and let this family continue to be stable, then we will be happy. Just like in the middle of winter, even if there's no air conditioner in the room, we can still cover ourselves with blankets. As long as no one comes to lift the blankets, as long as we cover ourselves tightly and don't let the cold wind enter the blankets, we will be able to sleep soundly and have a good night's sleep. Think about it, isn't it great to have a warm place to sleep in the middle of winter? Yi Er knew that she and Jiang Zhao were like a small world. In this small world, they needed warmth and a place to nurture warmth. They needed blankets to cover themselves against the cold. They needed to defend with their lives. However, during this process, no one could snatch their blankets away. The Ouyang Yan was Jiang Zhao's air conditioner. Without blankets, as long as the Ouyang Yan was running, Jiang Zhao could even take off his clothes and sleep with it on his body. However, she wasn't Jiang Zhao's air conditioner. She could only hug him and use her meager body temperature to use the cotton blankets to protect her body temperature. She used the entire night to warm up the long night that belonged to them. As long as the Ouyang Yan didn't lift her blankets, she and Jiang Zhao would be able to sleep warmly until dawn. It wasn't that she didn't feel sour in her heart. Every woman had her own self-esteem. Since she was young, she had been taught that women must know how to love themselves. However, when you fell in love with someone, self-esteem would be left behind. She pestered him and took the initiative to please him. After quarreling, she took the initiative to admit her mistakes. Actually, she was also very envious of those girls who were pursued by men. Every day, they would make solemn vows of love. I love you. I love you for 10,000 years. My love for you will never change. She also wanted someone to say these words to her and shamelessly beg her to give him her heart. Then, she would arrogantly do things again and again. She wouldn't stop until she tortured that man to death. That kind of vanity was so desirable. However, the person she fell in love with was Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao had the Ouyang Yan. Ad. Hongcha 866. Chapter 613. Jiang Zhao couldn't become that kind of man. If he became that kind of man, he wouldn't be Jiang Zhao anymore. He hugged the woman who had lost a lot of weight even tighter. Jiang Zhao's heart was gently plucked and trembled as it bounced against the walls of his heart. It was both itchy and painful. Xingtingting said that he and Yunye weren't compatible because Yunye's education level was low while his was high, because Yunye's family background wasn't good while his family background was good. He knew that it was easy to not find common ground when it came to education. But now, he increasingly didn't know what superficial was. Was Yunye superficial? She always said things that were so shallow that one could see the sand and stones at the bottom of the water, but all of a sudden, it seeped into one's heart. Their marriage didn't have a love that could warm them up like an air conditioner. Then, they would find a bed and blanket, hug each other, and cover the gaps around them. In the middle of winter, how could they not be happy to have a warm place to sleep? To be able to feel warmth in winter, if this wasn't happiness, then what else could be considered happiness? She was different from Jolie. She had a sense of responsibility. She said that responsibility was very important. He believed that she was willing to be responsible for this family. At this moment, he was willing to believe in her, A week later, all of Yi Er's indicators were normal and she was discharged. The people from the Jiang family called to urge him to prepare for the wedding on the 6th day of the first lunar month in Jiang district. Jiang Zhao agreed. On Sunday morning, the fog and frost were heavy. Yi Er was forcefully pulled out of bed by Jiang Zhao and went outside to do morning exercises. Jiang Zhao was dressed in a light gray casual suit with a drawstring top that made him look especially youthful. Yi Er rarely saw Jiang Zhao dressed so casually. She really felt that this guy obviously wanted her to come out for morning exercises and deliberately dressed so youthful to seduce her. Ah Zhao, didn't we renovate a gym on the 2nd floor? Let's not go outside to do morning exercises. Yi Er felt that it was cold outside and it was easy to drink the cold wind into her stomach. How can that be the same? The environment here is so good. Of course, we have to come out to breathe in the fresh air. Dad has already taken Si Jie to exercise. How can you be so lazy? In fact, Jiang Zhao did not mean to do this. His mother said that since they were already married, it was better for them to exercise their bodies and have a child as soon as possible. Speaking of this, he had some thoughts. Although he had a child at home now, he was his brother-in-law after all. He could not be compared to his own flesh and blood. His eldest brother's son was also very likable. She had just been discharged from the hospital, so it was naturally not good for her to be pregnant. She needed to exercise and start implementing this plan after the college entrance examination next year. It was not as if she could not get pregnant in college now. If he really couldn't do it, he would just take a break from school. After all, he couldn't wait any longer. Yi Er really had no way to compete with Jiang Zhao. She was urged and beaten by him all the way until she walked a few rounds around the neighborhood like a dog. When she bumped into Zhuang Yichen, who was walking a big golden retriever, Yi Er stopped and hid behind Jiang Zhao. She was a little scared of Zhuang Yichen. Zhuang Yichen acted like he was not familiar with Jiang Zhao and greeted him casually. Mayor Jiang, Mrs. Jiang, good morning. Jiang Zhao replied politely. Mr. Zhuang, are you walking your dog? Yes. After saying that, he squatted down and stretched out his big hand to scratch the golden retriever's neck. He raised his head and looked at Yi Er. When he smiled, 1,000 flowers bloomed. Mrs. Jiang, you look good today. You are getting prettier. Yi Er rarely saw Zhuang Yichen smile, and it was such a friendly smile. Sometimes, it was a cold smile. Looking at him walking his pet and smiling at her, she felt dizzy. Luckily, she already had someone in her heart. What if she was still a young girl? Who would be able to withstand this kind of shock? Qiu Xiaoye was the best. She still said she was not getting married. Did she really not want to marry Zhuang Yichen? These 4 young masters of Haiqing were the scourge of Haiqing. Jiang Zhao was still the best. She had taken care of this scourge, and he would not be able to harm others in the future. Ouyang Yan was an exception. She would slowly make him unable to harm Ouyang Yan. Thank you for the compliment. Yi Er took another step forward. Zhuang Yichen was not as fierce as before. She kind of liked the dog in his hands. She reached out to play with it, but before she could bend down, Jiang Zhao pulled her hand back. Be careful, it will bite you. Why would it? It's not like I haven't had a dog before. Golden retrievers are very kind. Let's go. Jiang Zhao pulled Yi Er away and said to Zhuang Yichen, Mr. Zhuang, take your time. We will run for a while more. Okay, take care. After Zhuang Yichen finished speaking, he stood up and walked his dog in the opposite direction of Jiang Zhao. Why won't you let me touch it? Golden retrievers won't bite people. Its owner is still here. Jiang Zhao definitely wouldn't say that he wanted her to have a baby, so he couldn't have a pet until after the baby was born. Seeing that Yi Er was angrily following behind him and refusing to chase after him, he trotted back to Yi Er's side and walked slowly with her. Pets carry a lot of germs on them. What if they touch it? Do you think people like Zhuang Yichen won't keep their dogs clean? You're really thinking too much. You don't know how fast germs can mutate nowadays. It's the easiest for germs to mutate from animals to humans. Every large-scale national serious disease is mutated from animals. You have no compassion. Yi Er knew that Jiang Zhao was telling the truth, but she still couldn't agree with his point of view. Zhuang Yichen looked like a cold-blooded person, but he still had a dog. Jiang Zhao was the real cold-blooded one. He didn't have any compassion at all. You like pets. I'll buy you a fish to raise, okay? We're both animals. Now you have compassion, right? Jiang Zhao took a step back. Yi Er exploded with anger. Fish. Dog. How could it be the same? How could it be the same? Oh my God. What was this man's brain made of? How could it be the same when they were both animals? Why don't you ask me to raise a snake? We're both animals. You want to raise a snake. But I don't think you have the guts to do that. If you really like it, I'll buy it for you. I'll just pull out your teeth. Okay. Get lost. Who said I want to raise a snake? She clearly said that she wanted to raise a dog. How did it turn into buying a snake to raise? Jiang Zhao shook his head. Are all women as unreasonable as you? Yi Er felt like she had been stabbed. Oh, Yang Yan is very sensible. He never quarrels with you, right? Boring. Jiang Zhao turned to leave. Yi Er also turned to leave. After taking 2 steps, she realized that something was wrong. Why did she leave? She went back to chase after Jiang Zhao. Hey, why did you say that I'm unreasonable? You must explain to me clearly. You've always been unreasonable. I didn't. You did. When did this happen? You must have evidence to slander me. Anytime. From morning till night. Good morning, Mayor Jiang, Mrs. Jiang. Yi Er immediately held Jiang Zhao's arm and smiled. Good morning, Mrs. Wang. When the strollers walked past, Yi Er immediately shook off Jiang Zhao's hand. From morning till night. Don't I have an hour of normal time? Am I so unbearable in your eyes? Jiang Zhao turned to look at Yi Er, who was angry alone, and held his forehead. Oh my God, your imagination is really rich. Yes, 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 yes. I have a rich imagination. I'm unreasonable. I'm not good at anything. Both of them acted like a model couple. After they separated, they started to bicker with each other until they reached home. Yi Er took out a pair of shoes and placed it in front of Jiang Zhao. Change your shoes. Although you think I'm not good at anything, I'm used to carrying your shoes for you. Although I'm angry with you, I can't bring myself to let you wear a pair of female slippers. Jiang Zhao smiled and entered the house. Yi Er went to prepare some porridge, fried some eggs, and prepared some side dishes. After breakfast was ready, she said. Let's eat breakfast. You don't have to wait for Dad and the rest. Although you think I'm not good at anything, I'm still used to cooking breakfast for you. Although I'm angry with you, I can't let you starve or feed you soy milk. Jiang Zhao smiled and ate his breakfast happily. After breakfast, Yi Er started to clear the dishes. Although you think I'm not good at anything, I'm still used to not letting you do the dishes and do the housework. Jiang Zhao stood up silently and sat on the sofa. He pulled out a newspaper and read it. After Yi Er finished washing the dishes, she wiped her hands and sat beside Jiang Zhao to make her presence known. Before she could say what she wanted to say, Jiang Zhao looked at the newspaper and said, "Although you said I don't think you're good at anything, I still think you're a very good girl. So a good girl should smile more and not complain all the time. She shouldn't be narrow-minded all the time. She should be broad-minded. That way, she'll become prettier." What? He actually said she wasn't broad-minded enough. Because she even allowed him to have a mistress. How could she be broad-minded? Was the Pacific Ocean so wide? Jiang Zhao glanced over and saw that Yi Er was about to say something again. He immediately threw the newspaper away and opened his arms. "Come, my beautiful girl. Let your husband reward you with a kiss. Go to hell, who cares?" Yi Er's mouth twitched a little awkwardly. "You're not coming. If you're not coming, then I'm coming," Jiang Zhao said and pounced on her. Yi Er was pressed onto the sofa and kissed fiercely. Yi Er was kissed until she was panting. She pushed Jiang Zhao away and said coquettishly, "Hey, didn't we agree on a kiss?" Jiang Zhao put his hand under Yi Er's clothes. His dry palm oil felt very comfortable on her soft and supple skin. He bit her ear and teased, "Oh, I'm sorry. Why did I give you so much at once? Can you give it back to me? How many more did I give you? Was there 10,000? Give me back 9,999. I'm going to faint. How can there be 10,000 kisses in such a short time? So you think it's too little?" "No, Yi Er was pinched, kissed, and rubbed. She was as soft as a puddle of mud. "Hubby, it's so early in the morning. Don't play like this. I can't take it." "Can't take what?" The tip of the man's nose was on the woman's neck. He didn't care even if he burned her to death. "I can't take it. I can't take it. You seduced me." The living room was very big. The long sofa was connected to one another. It was a little exciting in such a bright and open place. But when she thought about how her father and brother could come back at any time, she still felt a little depressed. The man's hand was already unwilling to just invade her upper body and move to her pants. "Hubby, Daddy is coming back." Yi Er was so anxious that she kept twisting. She grabbed Jiang Zhao's clothes and pulled tightly. Her voice was as unbearable as her buttocks that were moving. "Go upstairs." Jiang Zhao was already on top of Yi Er. At this moment, he pulled out his hand from her pants and put it under her waist. When he scooped her up, he also stood up. Yi Er hooked her legs around Jiang Zhao's waist tightly. "Come and see." Shinwu 799. Chapter 614. Jiang Zhao was a little excited as he hugged Yi Er and rushed upstairs. Yi Er wondered if it was because she had too much free time today. She had eaten breakfast and was dressed warmly, so her lust came especially quickly. After being discharged from the hospital, his body was getting better day by day. Jiang Zhao was getting fiercer and fiercer each time. Yi Er heard the sound of the door opening downstairs. Her body stiffened once, and she patted Jiang Zhao's naked body. "Hubby, my dad and the others are back. What should we do?" Jiang Zhao smiled and put more force on her butt. "They're also home at night. Why aren't you afraid? What if he comes to call us for breakfast? Dad knows that we've definitely eaten. Should I go down and help Dad fry eggs?" Jiang Zhao was a little impatient and retorted again. Yi Er bit her lip and moaned. "Yunyi, why don't we buy another house for Dad and the others?" "Okay." "Why? Every time you worry about this and that, I feel that our sex life is affected." "How is that? Don't you think that the quality is not as good as before? We're upstairs and downstairs, but you're worried about the sound of the bed, and you're worried about yourself calling out. When you suppress it, it makes me feel suppressed. Yi Er was most afraid of making Jiang Zhao feel suppressed in bed. What if he didn't have enough at her place and ran out to steal food? Thinking about it, she felt that she was worrying too much. In fact, her father was a very sensitive person and would never come upstairs. He had also taught Si Jie several times that he was not allowed to go upstairs to look for her and Jiang Zhao. If there was something, he should call out downstairs. It was inevitable that her suspicions would affect the quality. I was wrong. I won't be like this in the future, okay? Good girl. It wasn't until after this time that Yi Er realized that she was really thinking too much. Not to mention that no one came upstairs, no one even called out. Covered in sweat, he got up and went to take a shower. Yi Er only wanted to wash her body. She didn't want to wash her hair, so she called out to Jiang Zhao, "Hubby." Jiang Zhao was still lying on the bed. "Ah. What's wrong? Help me grab the hair from the dresser drawer. My hair is getting wet." "Oh, wait a moment." Jiang Zhao got out of bed and wrapped himself in a bathrobe. He walked towards the dressing table and opened the drawer. There were a lot of small things inside. Women were troublesome. There were several eyebrow trimming tools and a lot of eyeshadow colors. It was dazzling. It was a small bottle with a tinge of brown color. What was that? The skincare products were all on the table. If they were skincare products, the packaging would be too ugly. She wouldn't go and buy some cheap stuff, would she? He had never shortchanged her. She picked it up and looked at it. There was no logo, only a sticker that said, "Birth Control." When Jiang Zhao saw these words, his back stiffened. He didn't know that Yi Er had been taking such things. Logically speaking, people like them didn't need it. He was an adult and knew to use a condom. He didn't use it during the safe period. Was she afraid that the safe period wasn't enough? Was she that afraid of getting pregnant? Was she that afraid of getting pregnant with his child? "Hubby," Jiang Zhao's hand trembled and the bottle almost fell to the ground. I want to take a shower." "Did you find the hair?" "It's black. The claws are interlocked and bite together. It looks like two rakes." "Oh, I saw it." Jiang Zhao put the bottle of birth control pills back to its original position. He held the black hair in his hand and closed the drawer. He was too polite and didn't have the habit of going through her things. That was why she was so generous to put the birth control pills in front of him. He went into the bathroom, opened the glass door of the shower area and handed the hair to Yi Er. Yi Er just smiled and said, "Thank you." But when she saw Jiang Zhao's icy expression, she couldn't help but tremble. He said that he was handing the hair to her, but the man's eyes were looking into her eyes. He was holding the hair so tightly that she couldn't snatch it away. Yi Er felt that Jiang Zhao's eyes looked like he wanted to eat someone. No, he wanted to eat her, bite by bite. Under the torture of the man's cutting gaze, her blood coagulated inch by inch. Yi Er shivered and murmured, "Hubby." Yi Er's voice pulled Jiang Zhao back to reality. Give it to me. The hair." Yi Er purposely ignored Jiang Zhao and shifted her gaze to her hand. She pouted and pouted. She said softly, "If you want to use it, you have to wait until you have hair as long as mine. I'm still so young. Can't you let me have it?" "Oh." Jiang Zhao loosened his grip. Yes, she was still young. Taking off his bathrobe, he stepped into the shower room and closed the glass door behind him. Reaching out, he picked up a strand of Yi Er's hair, twisted it, and fixed it on top of her head. Then, he took the strand of hair from her hand and tied it into a bun on top of her head. As he turned on the water, he rubbed some shower gel in his hand and rubbed it on Yi Er's body. Yi Er followed Jiang Zhao's example and bathed him. Yi Er felt ticklish all over. She chuckled and bubbles flew all over the bathroom. She hugged Jiang Zhao's neck. Hubby, Sister Xiaoya is already 25 years old. Why hasn't she married Zhuang Yichen yet? Why do you care so much about other people's business? I'm just worried that Sister Xiaoya will have children later because she's old. Jiang Zhao took Yi Er's hand away and turned her back to him. He rubbed her back. 25 years old is too late. Then what about other people who have children in their 30s? Besides, children are so annoying. They're so noisy all day long. It's so annoying. Yi Er lowered her head. Suddenly, she looked like a frosted eggplant. Oh. When Jiang Zhao received a call from family Ouyang's old master Ouyang Xing, he was just about to go back to sleep. Fourth Grandpa. In Haiqing, family Ouyang's old master had always been respectfully addressed as Fourth Grandpa. Jiang Zhao also kept calling him Fourth Grandpa. Ouyang Xing laughed and said, "Zhao Zhao, did Fourth Grandpa disturb your sleep?" "No, I woke up early." "Fourth Grandpa, have you had breakfast?" "Yes, yes." When Ouyang Xing smiled, there was a hint of shrewdness in his smile. At the end of his words, he smacked his lips and said, "Zhao Zhao, can you find some time to come to the Ouyang family today? The fourth master has encountered some difficulties, and he needs your help to think of a way." Jiang Zhao frowned and asked, "Fourth Grandpa, what trouble did you encounter?" "It's not to make things difficult for you. I just want you to persuade Hai Zi." "Hai Zi? What's wrong with Hai Zi?" "Zhao Zhao, you guys grew up together. Hai Zi is also close to you. Even though Yun Yun and you have become distant in recent years, the two of you are still close. Brothers are still brothers." Jiang Zhao smiled. "I didn't want to disturb you about today's matter." Jiang Zhao immediately said, "Fourth Grandpa, what are you talking about? What disturbances are you talking about? Aren't you treating me as an outsider?" Jiang Zhao thought that if Grandpa called Ouyang Hai at this time to say that he was disturbing him, Ouyang Hai would probably nod and bow and say, "Grandpa Qin, what are you talking about? Are you trying to kill me?" He really couldn't stand these old people's words. They really wanted to break the young people's waists. Ouyang Xing sighed and said angrily, "Hai Zi, that bastard, wants to divorce Junjun. Junjun, that girl, is dutiful. She just entered the family Ouyang for a year and gave birth to a big fat boy for the family Ouyang. After that, she was very obedient. Tell me, have you heard of our Junjun causing trouble outside?" Jiang Zhao nodded and said sincerely, "That's true. Ni Jun is really a role model for the daughter-in-law of a rich family. Junjun is just too honest. Now that Hai Zi, that bastard, wants a divorce, but now Qiu hugs his mother every day and refuses to let go. Wherever Junjun goes, he will follow. Such a young child insists on moving out with his mother. This old man's heart is broken." Ouyang Xing choked. Jiang Zhao frowned, "Fourth Grandpa, don't worry. Whether Hai Zi listens to your advice or not, I'll give him a call later. Zhao Zhao, I still want to invite you to come over. Come to the house." Yesterday afternoon, this brat wanted to greet Junjun with a ear of melon seeds. If someone tried to persuade him, he even threw something at them. I feel that you and Hai Zi are brothers, so he will more or less listen to your advice. No matter what we old people say, he will say it's old. Dong. Jiang Zhao couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Since the word "please" had already been said, he really couldn't reject it. Hai City was only so big, and the power field was only so big. There were checks and balances everywhere, and no one could offend anyone. On the surface, the Qin family was the number one family, and no one dared to bully the Jiang family in the east. However, in reality, the other families were also restrained by each other. He had a good relationship with Ouyang Hai, but why did he find him to persuade him not to get a divorce? Could it be because he was a married man? Fourth Grandpa, then in the afternoon. I'll go over after lunch. I still have some things to settle here. Jiang Xiao thought that he should stay at home more to cultivate his relationship with Yi Er during the weekend. Ouyang Xing was a little troubled. I'm not disturbing you, am I? Fourth Grandpa, don't say that again. I really don't deserve your words. Okay. Then I'll trouble you, Xiao Xiao. I'll wait for you in the afternoon. Jiang Xiao politely hung up the phone and fell back on the bed. Yunyi, I'm going to family Ouyang's house in the afternoon. You stay at home with Dad. What are you going to do? Family Ouyang. Ouyang Yan's house. Yun Yun's brother is asking for a divorce. Fourth Grandpa asked me to go over and persuade him. I'll go with you. Yi Er knew that Jiang Xiao liked Ouyang Yan, so she didn't dare to act like a shrew. She said gently, I'll go with you to visit him. Why are you going? Don't go. Stay at home. Jiang Xiao's attitude was firm. Ouyang Xing said that if someone went to persuade him, she would throw things at him. If she picked up something and threw it at him, it didn't matter if he was hurt. Men had rough skin and thick flesh. The key was that Yi Er had been in trouble for the past few months. If something happened again, he would be tortured to death by her. Okay, that's it. Beauty novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 6:15. After lunch, Yi Er reluctantly sent Jiang Xiao to the parking lot. She even closed the car door for him and said many times, Hubby, take me to see the world. Go back. If you have nothing to do, play video games with Xijia. Be good, be obedient. Jiang Xiao locked the car door and rolled down the window. He said to Yi Er, you're cuter if you're obedient. Yi Er could only sigh. She really didn't know what to do. She was afraid that if she wasn't obedient, Jiang Xiao wouldn't like her. But he was going to the family Ouyang. Watching Jiang Xiao's car drive out of the garage, Yi Er stood in the same place for a long time. Her eyelids twitched. When Jiang Xiao arrived at the family Ouyang, he didn't see any discordant scene. Ni Jun was playing with Qiu in the garden. After greeting Ni Jun and hugging Qiu, he realized that the boy had grown taller. He even had a child. Why was he divorced? Also, this child was so cute. How could he live without a mother? He really didn't know what Ouyang Hai was thinking. The servant led Jiang Xiao through the garden and into the villa. He didn't see Ouyang Xing. Instead, he went straight to Ouyang Xing's study. There was a group of old people in Hai City who were like old Master Qin. For example, Ouyang Xing liked to do antique calligraphy and paintings. His study was like a painter's study. After Jiang Xiao sat down, Ouyang Xing personally started to brew tea. Xiao Xiao, you haven't come to our house in a long time. How could that be? I come to visit every year during the new year. Jiang Xiao picked up a pair of tongs and prepared to help Ouyang Xing wash the tea set. In the past, you didn't just come to visit. You also came to visit this old man during the solar festival. Fourth Grandpa, I'm sorry. I've been busy these past few years. I'll come often in the future. Jiang Xiao felt that the atmosphere was not right. Ouyang Xing had always been a shrewd person. Was it because of something else? Ouyang Xing looked at Jiang Xiao's doubtful expression and sighed. I called Hai Zi and he's rushing home right now. You saw him when you entered the courtyard just now. Qiu is so cute, right? Jiang Xiao relaxed his guard. Yes, she's cute. I had a lot of fun with June, Ouyangxing sighed. He's only happy because his mother is around. He's no longer 1 or 2 years old. It doesn't matter if his mother leaves. He's already 6 years old. He knows and remembers everything. If we get a divorce now, it'll have a huge impact on the child. Jiang Zhao said, "Fourth Grandpa, actually, the children and grandchildren have their own blessings. If the parents' relationship really breaks down and they quarrel every day, such a marriage is not good for the children." But I didn't know that Hai Zi didn't treat June well. In the past, it wasn't easy to get her. You don't know how to cherish it. Where can I find a daughter-in-law like June in the future? How many girls nowadays are willing to stay at home like June? While they were talking, someone knocked on the door. It was Ouyang Hai. Ouyang Hai took off his blazer and smiled at Jiang Zhao. "Mayor Jiang, welcome." Jiang Zhao stood up and punched Ouyang Hai on his shoulder. "Go to hell. Are you trying to embarrass me? How dare I?" Ouyang Hai looked at Ouyangxing. "Grandpa, why didn't you inform me that you are inviting such a distinguished guest?" "No, I must drink more with Jiang Zhao today. I must ask the kitchen to prepare more dishes today. This fellow is successful now, and he doesn't even care about me." Ouyangxing replied happily. Jiang Zhao shook his head and smiled. "If it weren't for Fourth Grandpa, I would have beaten you up." Ouyang Hai looked at Jiang Zhao and laughed. "Fine. I will ask my grandpa to stop protecting him." Ouyangxing stood up. "Fine. You two brothers can have a fight here. I will go out first." Jiang Zhao said. "Hai Zi, I will not be eating here tonight." "No. You must eat here tonight. If not, you are not giving me face." Ouyangxing left the study room and returned to his bedroom. He took out his phone and dialed a number. Yun, he is here. Wait for us to eat before you come back." Jiang Zhao looked at the time and thought about his mission today. "Hai Zi, I will pass on Fourth Grandpa's message. Hi, don't say any more. He worries all day long." "Jiang Zhao, I want to." Ouyangxing pulled Jiang Zhao to sit at the tea table and continued Ouyangxing's cooking routine. He did not follow the old man's rules and casually placed his elbows on his legs to support himself. He raised his eyes and glanced at Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao had always been a vigilant person. When Ouyang Hai was here, his intuition was that there was no need to persuade him about the divorce. Jiang Zhao did not reply. He liked to wait for others to say more, so that he could listen and see more, and then distinguish the intentions of others. He placed his palms on his knees and propped his shoulders up a little. He took the small teacup from Ouyang Hai and sniffed the fragrance of the white smoke rising from the cup. He swallowed the scalding hot tea into his stomach and said, "This tea is really good. Fourth Grandpa has collected so many good things." Ouyang Hai laughed. "Jiang Zhao, you are starting to play Tai Chi with me again. Do you not drink enough good tea? What kind of good tea does Grandpa Chi not have? I'm not afraid to be frank with you. I know that after the change of route for Subway Line 2 this time, you guys have been finalizing the plan. Don't let Fian have all the benefits. Subway Line 2 is so long, and we're brothers. What do you say?" Ouyang Hai's smile was very clear. Jiang Zhao was a person who valued relationships and loyalty. If he was a sinister person, then he was also very sinister. The family Ouyang and the Qin family were old friends. Speaking of old friends, there were many kinds of old friends. If he and Ouyang Yan's marriage had been successful, then this old friendship level would have reached a new height. But at present, this kind of old friendship was definitely not at the level of sharing benefits. The second subway line was very long, and there were many stations, but there were not many empty and good places. The fattest places naturally had to be chosen by Fian and Zhuang Yichen. There were many people who grew up with Jiang Zhao. When they met, they also called each other brothers. But so what? Who would give a blueprint when they called each other brothers? Just give a hint. Then he had only been a deputy mayor for a few years. He might as well find a chance to break the rules. Hi Z, look at what you're saying. I am a person who separates public and private matters. You mean that Fian is not capable? Ha, if Grandpa heard this, he would be furious. He always thought that Fian was very capable. Jiang Zhao tried his best not to let the topic lean towards the second subway line. Ouyang Hai was startled for a moment, then sighed, well, Grandpa Qin's precious grandson really can't be said to be incapable. This only child's IQ has broken through the roof. Your words really put me under a lot of pressure. Next time, Fian will say that I am insulting him behind his back. Jiang Zhao touched little Zisha's teacup and placed it on the tea table. He poured the filtered tea into his own cup and looked up at Ouyang Hai. He smiled and said, see, in your eyes, I'm such a person who can't keep his words. Are you afraid that I'll go and tell Fian such trivial things? Beauty Novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 616. Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Hai were in the middle of this Tai Chi discussion about Subway Line 2. Dinner time had arrived. When the servant came to call them for dinner, Jiang Zhao stood up. Hi Z, you don't listen to my advice. But I think Chiu is very cute. Of course. If my son is not cute, who is cute? Ha ha ha. Ouyang Hai laughed when he mentioned his son. He stood up and walked in front of Jiang Zhao. Let's go for dinner. Jiang Zhao looked at his watch. Hi Z, I will not be having dinner here tonight. Everyone is here on Sunday. How can you do that? It's rare for you to come here, and you don't even want to have dinner. Ouyang Hai patted Jiang Zhao's back. Let's go. If you don't want to give me face, then give my grandfather some face. How about it? Jiang Zhao exhaled. He didn't want Ouyang Xing to beat around the bush and ask about the second line for the whole afternoon, and then be forced by Ouyang Xing at the dinner table in the evening. Hi Z, I can't do that. I had promised Yunyi that I will go home for dinner. If I don't go home for dinner, she will throw a tantrum again. Ouyang Hai exclaimed in surprise. If other people know that Mayor Jiang is afraid of your wife, they will laugh at you. It's not that I am afraid. I am just too busy and don't have much time to accompany my family. It's rare for me to have a day off. Jiang Zhao knew that Ouyang Xing was trying to make him give in and reject people of the same age. But as long as it was a descendant of a noble family, they should show due respect to their family's elders. It was just like how he had to salute Xi Jintian and Xianyo had to salute his grandfather. Even Fei Yan and Shen Kai, those famous foppish fellows, when they met the elders of the aristocratic families, they still had to lower their heads. Zhao Zhao, you're too much. Today, there's only you, me, Hai Zi, Junjun, and Chiu in the house. Our house isn't as complete as yours. Are you saying this for an old thing like me to hear? Or is it that this old thing is going to enter the coffin in a few years? You young people don't even want to have a meal with me. Ouyang Xing had already walked to the door of the study, and his words seemed to be depressing. Jiang Zhao was speechless. Hey, fourth master, listen to what you're saying. I didn't hear anything. Jiang Zhao turned around and supported Ouyang Xing. Let's go downstairs and eat. All right. Ouyang Xing turned to Hai Zi and said, Hai Zi, go and take out the two little fish that I have hidden. After Hai Zi agreed, Ouyang Xing said to Jiang Zhao, "Last time, this pair of wine bottles were the size of a fist, so I called them little fists. Tonight, let's drink this thing. It probably won't be enough for us to rinse our mouths. I know that you've been drinking white wine with your elders. After drinking, I still have some good wine in my collection. Let's drink a few more cups." "Fourth Grandpa, let's not drink wine. I still have to drive tonight." Ouyang Xing straightened his back. "How can that be? When men eat with men without drinking wine, is it called a man? You must drink tonight. Fourth Grandpa's driver never drinks. Is his driving skills worse than a designated driver? Don't worry." After Jiang Zhao went downstairs, he went out of the hall and stood in the garden to make a phone call. The light on the horizon had faded, and the gray sky seemed a little depressing. "Yun Yi." Yi Er's voice was sweet, as if the afternoon when she begged Jiang Zhao to take her to the family Ouyang had not happened at all. "Hubby, I cooked a lot of Cantonese dishes tonight and made some soup to nourish you, ha." Jiang Zhao reached out and rubbed his chin. He could imagine how much Yi Er's dishes suited his taste. Yi Er never put MSG in the dishes she cooked. After eating, he would not feel that the food he ate was tasteless. "Yun Yi, I'm not going home for dinner tonight. Fourth Grandpa insisted that I stay for dinner. You and Dad eat first. Don't wait for me." "But..." Yi Er raised her head and blinked hard. She stretched out the hand that was holding the phone far away. Then, she sniffed hard. After choking, she put the phone back to her ear and smiled. "But there's so much food. How can the three of us finish it? Then leave it for me. I'll have supper tonight, okay? But you don't like to eat supper. Yun Yi, be good, okay? I'll go back after dinner." Yi Er leaned against the guardrail on the balcony. A drop of water dripped from the back of her white hand, splashing some fine water foam. "Okay, I'll be good. Come back after dinner. Don't lie to me. I'll wait for you. Okay." You and Gigai eat. The dining room was as bright as the sun, and the atmosphere was not depressing. As cunning as Ouyang Xing was, the older the ginger, the spicier it was. When it came to scheming, even psychological hints would be in place step by step. At the dining table, Ouyang Xing never mentioned Ouyang Yen. He only said that brothers should take care of each other. Every sentence he said hinted that Jiang Zhao should use his authority to make things easier for Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao's thoughts stopped at this level. He played Tai Chi and guarded his bottom line. The glass bottle that was the size of a small fist was like an oval crystal bowl. Paired with a small crystal glass, it was really exquisite. The table was filled with the aroma of wine. The small crystal glass contained very little wine, but the wine was mellow and fragrant. It was also full of alcohol. Jiang Zhao had a lot of social gatherings on a daily basis. No matter how concentrated the wine was, it was fine as long as it was not too bad for him. After Ouyang Yen returned to family Ouyang, Jiang Zhao greeted her. Ouyang Xing called out to Ouyang Yen. "Yun Yun, just in time. We're eating. Sit down and eat too." Ouyang Yen said, "I've eaten." Then, she rolled her eyes at Jiang Zhao. "What are you doing here?" Jiang Zhao said calmly, "Oh, I'm here for a meal and then I'll leave." Did she think that he wanted to come? He also knew that it was not that simple to come over today. He was exhausted from the whole afternoon of playing Tai Chi around line 2. It was Sunday, and he did not want to deal with these things at all. "Eat. Don't you have food at home? Why did you come to my house for a meal?" Ouyang Yen took off her coat and handed it to the servant. Jiang Zhao narrowed his eyes. This was strange. Yang Yan had never been like this. She would never speak so directly and sharply. Even if she was unhappy, she would beat around the bush. She would try to speak as calmly as possible. Now, her tone was very much like Ye's. When did Yang Yan become like this? Was she blaming him for making her move out of the apartment in the north of the city? After moving out for so long, she still could not find a place to live. Yun, you. Yang Xing put down his chopsticks and stopped her sternly. Yang Yan shouted back. What am I doing? Why did you ask him to come home for a meal? Hasn't he humiliated me enough? Now, you even brought him home for a meal. How can I face others in the future? Jiang Zhao did not care that Yang Yan did not give him face. In fact, he had been sitting on pins and needles for a long time. His wife had cooked a table full of dishes at home. It was not like he did not have food to eat. What kind of lousy boxing game was it? No matter how expensive it was not as good as the fruit wine that his wife learned from the elders at home. How could people like them understand that taste? Fourth grandfather, it's getting late. I'll go back first. When Jiang Zhao stood up, Yang Xing immediately stopped her. Zhao, don't lower yourself to Yun's level. She's a little bastard. Yang Yan snorted and ran upstairs. Jiang Zhao looked at the time. It was 8:00. She felt a little dizzy. She had eaten for a long time. Fourth grandfather, hi Z, it's really getting late. I have to go back. I have to go back to work tomorrow. Yang Xing sighed. Okay. It's different when you have a family. Hi Z, you should learn from Zhao. Yang Hai laughed. Grandsons are always better than others, right? You know, and you still say it. Family. Yang's chauffeur drove for Jiang Zhao. After getting in the car, Jiang Zhao wanted to sleep. Yi watched TV at home. She switched channels one by one. She paused on each channel for a few seconds. She was not satisfied with any of them until midnight. It should be supper now, right? She had to send Si Jia to school on Sunday night. At night, only Yi and Yun Hongwei were at home. Yi suddenly remembered what Jiang Zhao said in the morning. He wanted to buy a new house for her father. Actually, it was good to buy a new house. At least her father would not be worried when she was waiting for her husband at home. Yi wanted to be a sensible first wife. She wanted to be as generous and sensible as the first wife in ancient times. But she had reached her limit. Midnight was a sensitive time. Even if she was deceiving herself, she should know that she had been exposed when she saw someone coming to arrest her, right? She wanted to learn from Yang Yan to be generous, but she could not. She still had to make the call. She had been holding the phone in her hand all this time. It was burning hot. She dialed Jiang Zhao's number, but the response she got was, "The subscriber you have dialed is unavailable. Please try again later." She stood up from the sofa with a whoosh. To hell with your generosity. Before she left, she thought about it. This was the second time she was going to look for Jiang Zhao in front of her father. She lied to Yun Hongwei again, saying that Jiang Zhao had asked her to pick him up and that he was drinking outside. Yi went to the garage and got into the flashy off-road vehicle. She started the engine. She drove all the way to Qingbei condominium. She had the key to Qingbei, so she did not even knock on the door. She turned the key and entered. Jiang Zhao's shoes were not at the door, nor were they in the shoe cabinet. She searched the rooms one by one. It was empty. It was all empty. There was not a single person. Yi stood in the house that she used to live in. She realized that there was nothing more helpless than not being able to find a person. At this moment, she felt like a trapped beast. She was locked in this cage, turning around every corner. She always thought that they would be in the closet, under the bed, on the balcony, in the kitchen. She even opened the fridge to look for them. She knew that she had really gone crazy. If the place where the two of them slept together was not there, then where could they have gone? Jiang Zhao, Jiang Zhao. Are you enjoying the happiness of having multiple wives? Do you want to be like the men in ancient times, where the first wife takes good care of the second wife for you? That's right. He said it was the family Ouyang's old residence. But where was the family Ouyang's old residence? She took out her phone and flipped through the contacts one by one with trembling hands. Mother-in-law. It was too late. She could not make this call. Father-in-law. It was too late. Qin family's old residence. It was too late. Fian. Welfare, Songshu 566. Chapter 617. Yi Er hesitated for a while before calling Qin Fian. In Xia Qian's words, the Qin Palace was the largest and most luxurious place in Xi City. It was also the most luxurious place to take a bath. Qin Fian himself also liked to take a bath here, surrounded by mist. His devilish face leaned against the edge of the pool, his white skin was slightly red from the steam. When his phone rang, his phoenix eyes lazily opened, a little impatient. When his hand reached out from the pool, the sound of water could be heard. There was a white towel by his side. He dipped his arm on it and picked up the phone. When he saw the name of the caller, he frowned. Sister-in-law. Fian, I'm sorry. Are you asleep? Qin Fian sat up a little, half of his sexy upper body coming out of the water. No, sister-in-law. Do you have something to say to me? Fian, do you know where family Ouyang's old residence is? Although Yi Er always wanted to be quiet, if her voice was too loud, she would get agitated. Therefore, she had been suppressing her voice and slowing it down, but when it reached Qin Fian's ears, it was clear that her voice was trembling. Sister-in-law, what's the matter? Fian, can you tell me where family Ouyang is? Can you send me the address? Qin Fian was a man. He knew how cunning this world was. At this time, he couldn't be blamed for being bad. No matter how good Yi Er's personality was, no matter how likable she was still his sister-in-law. And Jiang Zhao was his brother. He could feel that his brother cared about his sister-in-law, but he also knew about Ouyang Yan's past. What was the meaning of asking about family Ouyang at this time? He couldn't speak carelessly. His brother should help cover for him at this time. No matter what, he was on his brother's side. Sister-in-law, don't be anxious. Where are you? Tell me. With a splash, the beautiful man came out of the bath. Qin Fian wrapped a bath towel around his waist, walked out of the pool, and entered the changing room. Fian, you can't bully me like this. You can't help your brother lie to me like this. Tell me, where is family Ouyang? If you don't tell me, I'll go find it myself. I'll go back to the Qin family to ask Grandpa now. I'm not afraid of causing trouble. I'm telling you, Fian, don't force me. Yi Er couldn't help but cry. Qin Fian was stunned. He thought that something big was about to happen. If Grandpa heard about it, he might try to persuade him. If Grandpa knew about it, he would definitely be punished according to the family rules. What's more, if he told Yi Er the address and went to find it himself, what if something happened? He had to follow her. Sister-in-law, tell me where you are. I'll pick you up and bring you there. Don't be agitated. I'll be there right away. Yi Er had already walked to the door. She took her bag and prepared to lock the door. I'm at the apartment in the north of the city. Your brother's house is here. Fian, I'll wait for you downstairs. Fian, you can't fool me. If you're not here in 20 minutes, I'll go find it myself. Chin Fian didn't dare to refuse. Yi Er's voice conveyed her emotions. She was very emotional and very irrational. Chin Fian called Jiang Zhao, but his phone was turned off. He called Ouyang Yen, but his phone was turned off. He called Ouyang Hai, but his phone was turned off. Even the family Ouyang house's phone was turned off. Someone had pulled out the phone line. The atmosphere was too strange. Yi Er didn't choose to wait in the room. Firstly, this was where Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Yen used to live. She couldn't stay there for too long. Staying there for even a minute would make her uncomfortable. Secondly, she needed to feel the cold wind. She needed to calm down. Although the blood in her body was cold, her brain was hot. It was like a volcano that could erupt at any time after the Earth's crust moved. Magma was boiling inside her body, and she could erupt at any time. Family Ouyang in the study, Ouyang Xing and Ouyang Hai were slowly brewing tea. Ouyang Hai just kept brewing but didn't drink. He seemed to be in a bad mood. Grandfather, I didn't agree to do this from the start. This time, you even included me in your calculations. Ouyang Xing was indifferent. For Yunyun, why do you have to be so calculative? If Jiang Zhao can marry Yunyun in the future, you and Jiang Zhao will be relatives. Are you afraid that he will hate you? Ouyang Hai was unhappy. For Yunyun. Grandfather, have you thought about the benefits of angering Jiang Zhao if this doesn't work out? Ouyang Xing didn't care. He and Yunyun have feelings for each other. He just doesn't have anyone to push him. Ouyang Hai rudely poured away the tea that he had just brewed and brewed it again. His voice was not loud. You're too confident. You're too confident in your granddaughter. Since young, you've always thought that she's outstanding in everything. Any man should love her to death, right? Ouyang Xing's face darkened. You're going overboard. Hai Zi, don't you want Yunyun to be happy? She's your biological sister. Yes, yes, yes. This biological sister of mine was raised by you single-handedly. So, you only care about whether your biological granddaughter can marry the man she likes. Grandfather, you'd rather destroy a temple than destroy a marriage. You only care about this kind of thing. Ouyang Xing threw the small purple sand in his hand onto the tea set. You just want to say that I'm biased. Aren't you biased? What's wrong with Junjun? Isn't her family background just a little ordinary? What trouble has she caused for you in the past few years after marrying me? Is Cho not obedient? Isn't she cute? Ouyang Hai tugged at the tie around his neck. He stood up and imitated Ouyang Xing to throw the small purple sand in his hand, but it fell to the ground. The porcelain shards flew everywhere, and the tea foam flew everywhere. He took a deep breath. Grandfather, this is the last time you threaten me. I promise you, there won't be a next time. The next time you protect Yunyun and do something ridiculous, don't involve me in anything. I'll pretend that I don't know. But, the next time you kidnap Junjun and Cho to the old mansion to threaten me, don't acknowledge me anymore. All the assets under your name can be given to Yunyun. I can't inherit such a generous amount of assets. Let our family of 3 live a little more peacefully. Ouyang Xing's face paled, and his entire body trembled. When he stood up, his voice trembled. Hai Zi, you're all my flesh. Which part of grandfather doesn't dote on you? The family Ouyang's things are all yours. Yunyun will eventually get married. Today's matter, grandfather didn't intend to use Junjun and Cho to threaten you. If you'd been more obedient, grandfather. Ouyang Xing laughed self-deprecatingly. Be obedient. This matter is clearly Yun Yun being disobedient. You can make up this matter yourself, but you insist on making me drag it out. Do you want Jiang Zhao to have scruples in the future? Even so, do you need to use Junjun and Qiu to threaten me? Qiu is my biological son, grandfather. Do you have to favor Yun Yun to this extent? If that Jiang Zhao still has feelings for her, he definitely wouldn't have married Yun Yi. Ouyang Xing straightened his back and said loudly, "Do you think every man is as one-track minded as you?" Ouyang Xing raised his chin, raised his eyebrows slightly, and said hatefully, "I'm one-track minded." You're not one-track minded. Aren't you helping Yun Yun single-mindedly? Let her do whatever she wants. Go and pluck the moon for her. Hurry up and do it. Ouyang Xing understood that Ouyang Hai was complaining about his favoritism. Hai Zi. Yun Yun has always been sensible. All these years, when has she ever asked me for anything? When has she ever asked for anything from the family? She's always been very obedient. You can't reject your sister just because of this. That's right. You can't reject your sister because of this. Yes, she didn't ask for anything. When has she ever asked for anything that was a bastard request? When she was in university, she had a good relationship with Jiang Zhao. The family felt that the marriage between the two families was a strong alliance. They were about to get engaged. In a moment of impulse, she said that she didn't want to rely on the family to make a career. She didn't want to get engaged and threw Jiang Zhao aside. She wanted others to understand her. Old Master Qin even came to mediate. Old Master Jiang rushed over from Jiang District to say good things. What did you do? You even persuaded Jiang Zhao to let her go. At that time, she didn't want him. Now, she thinks that Jiang Zhao is good. What were you doing earlier? You continue to play along with her. I want to see what you two will do. Yun Yun isn't playing along. She's too young. She needs to learn to cherish her experience. Ouyang Hai felt too tired. He couldn't care about other people's happiness. He couldn't even protect himself. Continue to let her learn what life is. Grandfather, I've completed my task today, right? Can I bring my wife and child back now? Qiu is asleep. Hai Zi, he's asleep. I'll go and hug him. Ouyang Hai turned around and exhaled. I feel embarrassed to stay here for even a minute longer. Hai Zi. What did you say? When Ouyang Xing shouted, he felt his liver burn. Ouyang Hai turned around. His eyes were full of disdain. He smiled. I feel embarrassed. My biological sister must be an ugly monster. Otherwise, she must be crazy. All the men in Haiqing are dead. She can't get married. That's why I cooperated with you to set such a big trap for Jiang Zhao. Ouyang Xing was so angry that he was panting heavily. However, he knew that his grandson had been angry from beginning to end today. Hai Zi, I've already said that everything in the Ouyang family belongs to you. Why are you fussing over such a small matter with your sister? Yun Yun doesn't want anything from you. She just likes Jiang Zhao. She's so generous. She doesn't want anything. She just wants Jiang Zhao, right? Ouyang Hai took off the tie around his neck and rubbed it. Holding it in his hand, he sneered. Just wait and see. If her marriage with Jiang Zhao doesn't work out, you'll have to clean up the mess later. Ouyang Hai left the study and ran up to the 3rd floor. The children's room wasn't locked. He opened the door and saw that Ni Jun had fallen asleep with Qiu in her arms. He reached into the blanket and touched Ni Jun's neck. Ni Jun was shocked. Ouyang Hai patted her shoulder to comfort her. Jun, get up and put on your clothes. Carry Qiu. Let's go home. Ni Jun's eyes reddened and she nodded. After she put on her clothes, Cho was still sleeping soundly. Yang Hai handed the car keys to Ni Jun and took off his jacket to wrap Cho. Jun, drive the car to the door. It's cold outside. Cho will wake up later. Okay. I'll go right away. Ni Jun took the keys. Dahai, bring Cho down in 5 minutes. Okay. Hurry up. Let's leave this place quickly. I don't want to stay here for another minute. 5 minutes later. Yang Hai carried Cho and sat in the back seat. Ni Jun turned on the headlights and flashed them at the big iron gate outside the villa. When the security guards saw them, he didn't let them in. Instead, he turned back to the security room and dialed the internal line to inquire. Attention, Hongcha 866. Chapter 618. Yang Hai looked at Ni Jun's trembling hands on the steering wheel and comforted her softly. Jun, don't be afraid. Grandpa has agreed to let me take you away. Ni Jun held the steering wheel and stared at the door. Jun, the past won't happen again. Don't be afraid. I'm the one who scared you today. It's okay, Dahai. Ni Jun was panting and sobbing. Dahai, let's not stay in Haiching. Let's take Cho and leave this place. I don't want to live in a big villa. Not at all. Don't be afraid. Don't think about the past. We already have a son. Grandpa won't do anything. We won't come here again, okay? Also, the villa and the company we're living in belong to us. They have nothing to do with Grandpa. You should stay here because I gave them to you. Do you understand? Yang Hai hugged Cho. Turn the air conditioner up a notch. Cho will catch a cold. Okay. Ni Jun replied calmly. She watched as the iron gate slowly opened. When the car could pass, she stepped on the accelerator and the car rushed out. Yang Hai hugged Cho and leaned against the back of the car. Jun, slow down. Dahai, I'm sorry. It's okay. I'm just afraid of dropping Cho. Yang Hai's car had just rushed out of the villa when Qin Fian's car honked. The security guard saw that it was Qin Fian and quickly let him in. Young Master Fian, you're here so late. After Qin Fian parked his car, he wanted to get out of the car to open the door for Yi Er. However, the moment he turned off the engine, Yi Er opened the door and jumped out. Yi Er knew that Yang Yen came from a good family. In the past, the Yun family was considered a wealthy family, but they were not related to such a family. Today, when she entered the villa, she did not care about how big it was. She directly asked the servants, "Where is Jiang Zhao?" That. The servant on night duty stammered. Qin Fian chased after Yi Er and pulled her back. Sister-in-law, calm down. Let's ask about the situation first. What if brother isn't here? Not here. I said he's here. Yi Er shook off Qin Fian's hand. Yi Er, the tall wooden door opened and Ouyang Xing walked out of the villa. He was wearing pajamas and looked like he had just climbed out of bed. It's really Yi Er. It's already so late. Yi Er bowed to Ouyang Xing according to the rules of the family. Fourth grandfather, sorry to disturb you. I'm here to see Jiang Zhao. Qin Fian also bowed to Ouyang Xing, bowed, and raised his hand. Fourth grandpa, I'm really sorry. I can't get through to my brother's phone. Sister-in-law is a little anxious. Oh, Zhao, didn't you go back? He went back. Yi Er and Qin Fian asked in unison. I fell asleep right after he left. I drank some wine at night, but I still asked the driver to drive him back in his car. At this time, the servant on night duty said, Master, no, young Master Zhao came back right after you fell asleep. What? He came back. Why didn't I know? Ouyang Xing was shocked. He did come back. He said he had something to discuss with Miss Yen. Later, the two of them went upstairs. We didn't ask. The servant answered honestly. Yi Er's head heated up. She couldn't care less about the etiquette of family friends. At this moment, she could forget about being dignified, reserved, and generous. She directly walked past Ouyang Xing and ran up to the second floor. She pushed open the doors one by one. Qin Fian didn't lose Yi Er's composure. Even if he was in a hurry, he could only take big strides. But just as he reached the staircase, he heard Yi Er cry out in unbearable pain, "Ah!" Qin Fian paused in his steps and ran up the stairs with big strides. He looked through the rooms one by one. Finally, he saw Yi Er in a room with pink hues. He thought to himself, this is the end. Yi Er stood in front of the bed and saw Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Xing hugging each other shirtless. They were both in deep sleep. It was probably because her scream was too loud. Ouyang Yen was the first to wake up. Jiang Zhao was pushed awake by Ouyang Yen. When he opened his eyes and saw Yi Er, he frowned and called out softly, Yi Er. Yin Yi. It was one thing to see a bloody killing scene in a movie. It was another thing to be thrown into a bloody killing scene and participate in a battle for life. It was just like Yi Er's feelings at this moment. Yi Er had told herself countless times that if she didn't see it, she would pretend that it didn't happen. But she would always wake up from her self-hypnosis. Jiang Zhao always said that she was a little fox, but she always felt that Jiang Zhao was a ferocious tiger. Someone once said that interracial love would not end well. She felt that she was made of steel. Really, she always felt that she was a tall building made of steel and gold cement. Even a magnitude 8 earthquake couldn't do anything to her. She was thick-skinned. She wasn't afraid. Yun Yi. When Jiang Zhao realized that something was wrong, he immediately lifted the covers and got out of bed. When he lifted the covers, he realized that he wasn't wearing anything. TMD. Yi Er smiled. In the end, Jiang Zhao, this soft knife, still killed her with his own hands. He killed her almost instantly, slaughtering all of her overflowing love. She always felt that Jiang Zhao was a good person. Jiang Zhao was a responsible person. It didn't matter. She was his first wife. She was despicable and shameless first. She was despicable and dirty later. She always wanted to pay him back. She wanted to make herself clean and keep showing off in front of him. One day, he would realize how good she was. Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao. She couldn't control her tears. She wanted to control them. At least, she didn't want to embarrass herself in front of Ouyang Yen. But she couldn't do it. Yi Er was a little shaky. But when she looked like she was about to fall, she immediately stood up straight. Pia. Yi Er slapped herself hard on the left side of her face. Jiang Zhao, this slap is to punish me. I shouldn't have threatened you at that time. I'm sorry. To Jiang Zhao, this slap was even more painful than the slap to his own face. Everyone in the room was shocked. Jiang Zhao turned sideways and grabbed Ouyang Yan's arm. He used a lot of strength. His eyes were bloodshot as he shouted, "Where are my clothes?" Ouyang Yan was in so much pain that he kept twitching. He felt like his bones were about to break. How would I know? You took them off yourself. Don't you know? Yi Er slapped herself on the right side of her face again. She used a lot of strength in this slap. She slapped herself so hard that blood flowed out of her mouth. She knew that she had to end this. She had to be more ruthless to herself. She didn't care about the tears on her face. She also didn't care about the blood at the corner of her mouth. But there was a smile on her face. Jiang Zhao, this slap is my fault. I shouldn't have forced you to marry me. I'm sorry. Jiang Zhao shouted at Qin Fian, Qin Fian. You better ***king get out. Or hold her back. Qin Fian couldn't react in time. He immediately grabbed Yi-er's hand. Sister-in-law, calm down. Yi-er lowered her head and bit Qin Fian's hand. She bit Qin Fian until he cried out in pain. Yi-er glared at him fiercely. Fian, let go. Let go. Yi-er's voice didn't fluctuate much. It was like a leaf falling off the branch in autumn. If there was wind, it would float. If there was no wind, it would fall. Jiang Zhao found his underwear under the covers. At this time, he couldn't think about the whole story. He only knew that it was useless to say anything now. He put on his pants and jumped off the bed. Fian, get out. Brother, sister-in-law is also anxious about this. You. Qin Fian didn't know what to do at this time. It was better for him to leave early. When he went out, he also pushed Ouyang Xing out and closed the door. Yi-er looked at Jiang Zhao with contempt, disdain, and hatred. Jiang Zhao reached out to hug her, but he only held her arm. Yi-er was like a soap bubble. He was afraid that it would burst with a touch. Yunyi, listen to me. I didn't. Why are you explaining to me? Jiang Zhao, you don't have to explain to me. Take your filthy hand away. Yi-er smiled again. Jiang Zhao let go and raised his hand again. He wanted to wipe away the tears on her face and the blood at the corner of her mouth. He wanted to touch the fingerprints on her face. But she smiled again. That smile was like a blunt knife that stabbed straight into his heart. His heart was like a knife that was being cut open with great difficulty. It was so painful that his whole body was trembling. In the past, he wanted her to be jealous. He wanted her to scream at him because of Ouyang Yan. But the result was not like this. Yunyi, listen to me. I didn't. I promise, I didn't. Jiang Zhao only said that he didn't. He didn't do anything. His mind was in a mess. A large part of his memory was blank. Jiang Zhao, let go. I owe you. I've repaid the 2 slaps on your face, right? Jiang Zhao had never seen Yunyi fall out with him like this. He was suddenly afraid and grabbed her elbow again. No, Yunyi, you didn't. You owe me more than that. More than that. Yi-er roared back fiercely. I don't care. I admit that I've wronged you. I'm shameless. I'm cheap. I only have myself to blame for all of this. I admit it. I deserve it. But I don't owe Ouyang Yan anything. She slept with my man. I can't let her go. If you dare to stop me today, I'll fight you too, you adulterous couple. Yi-er pushed Jiang Zhao away. She put on her shoes and stepped onto Ouyang Yan's bed. She rushed over and pressed Ouyang Yan, who was watching the show with her shoulders bare, onto the bed. Pia. She slapped Ouyang Yan. Ah. Ouyang Yan. I'm slapping you this time because you're shameless. You seduced a married man. Pia. Another slap. I'm slapping you this time because you're shameless. You seduced my Yunye's man. Yunyi, you're crazy. You're a shrew. Ouyang Yan wanted to resist, but Yi Er was already an angry beast. She had endless brute force. She wanted to be a shrew at this moment. She rode the Ouyang Yen. She was wearing thick clothes and had the advantage. When her hands were long enough to grab the Ouyang Yan's face, she kneeled down on the Ouyang Yan's hands. She couldn't hurt herself at all. Pia. When the third slap landed, outside the door, Ouyang Xing was hugged by Qin Fian. Fourth Grandpa, don't go in. Let them settle it themselves, okay? Fian, let go. It's Yun Yun who's being hit right now. Yi Er's hand that was grabbing Ouyang Yan's chin was trembling. She gritted her teeth and cursed. Every cell in her body was exploding, so exploding that her entire body was shaking. Ouyang Yan, I'm slapping you this time because you're a whore. You're AF * king whore. Jiang Zhao stood at the end of the bed and coldly picked up his shirt from the floor and put it on. Ouyang Yan looked at Jiang Zhao silently putting on his shirt and buttoned up his sleeves. She weakly begged for help, second brother. Save me. Pull her away. She's crazy. Attention, Songshu 566. Chapter 619. Jiang Zhao remembered that Yi Er had said that if he dared to stop her, she would fight him to the death. He would not stop her. He was just wondering why she did not rush over to hit him. Jiang Zhao put on his clothes with a blank expression. He remembered that he had gotten into the car, and the driver had said that he would drive the car back to the 9th mansion. How did he wake up and find himself sleeping naked on the bed with the Ouyang Yan? The door was suddenly pushed open. It was Ouyang Xing and a servant. Yi Er was riding the Ouyang Yan. Jiang Zhao sat at the end of the bed with his back facing the fight. He was thinking about the problem he wanted to solve. When Ouyang Xing came in and saw it, he was so angry that his blood pressure rose. He pointed at Yi Er on the bed and shouted, Yi Er. Get this crazy woman off the bed. Jiang Zhao stood up and grabbed the servant who was approaching the bed fiercely. He said calmly, let her hit me. After hitting that one, she still has to hit me. Only then will she be able to vent her anger. Jiang Zhao quickly froze himself. His voice was close to emotionless. He did not try to persuade or pull Yi Er away. He felt that Yi Er was right. He would wait for her to hit him until she was done venting her anger. Ouyang Xing's eyes widened in disbelief. Jiang Zhao. Are you just going to watch her hit Yun Yun? Both the Ouyang Yan and I deserve to be hit. You came back on your own. Ouyang Xing's words were loud and clear. Jiang Zhao seemed very calm at this moment. I don't know if I came back on my own. I don't remember what happened last night. You don't remember. Just by saying that you don't remember, you're pushing all the blame away. Responsibility. The one I should be responsible for has lost her rationality. Who do I need to be responsible for? Ouyang Xing did not expect Jiang Zhao to be so cold-blooded. In Ouyang Xing's eyes, Jiang Zhao had feelings for the Ouyang Yan. He just needed a catalyst. After someone catalyzed him, the suppressed feelings would explode. Grandpa, save me. The Ouyang Yan's face was almost swollen beyond recognition. Ouyang Xing shouted again, wake everyone up and throw this crazy woman out. Jiang Zhao looked into Ouyang Xing's eyes and smiled dangerously. There's no need for you to do it. Walking to the head of the bed, she held Yi Er's hand and said gently, Yun Yi, let's go home. Go home. Where is home? Get lost. Yi Er struggled to escape from Jiang Zhao's hand. Ouyang Yan seized the opportunity to counterattack, but Jiang Zhao quickly let go of Yi Er and pressed down on Ouyang Yan's raised hand. Yi Er looked at him and slapped him across the face again. Despicable. How can you do such a shameless thing? You still have the face to fight back. Ouyang Yen was ready to throw caution to the wind. Now that she was pressed down by Jiang Zhao and allowed Yi Er to slap her, she could no longer throw caution to the wind. She screamed hysterically, "Grandpa!" At this moment, the servants outside the room rushed into the room. Under Ouyang Xing's orders, they all wanted to pull Yi Er away. Jiang Zhao's eyes were cold. He still could not sort out what happened last night, but he knew that Yi Er needed to vent. No one could stop her. No one could hurt her. He lifted his long leg and kicked a burly man in the abdomen. When he put down his leg, he patted his pants and said coldly, "This is between the three of us. No one else should interfere. You must interfere. You must throw this Yunyi out of the family Ouyang." Ouyang Xing shouted again. Qin Fian saw that this situation was not going to work. If he continued to pretend to be a gentleman, something big would happen. He took off the glasses on the bridge of his nose and threw them aside. He rushed over to the servant holding Yi Er by the back of her collar and threw her to the floor. He crouched down and punched the servant in the face. The room was suddenly in chaos. Ouyang Xing ordered that Yi Er be thrown out, but he did not say that Jiang Zhao and Qin Fian were to be hit. These two young masters were not people that just anyone would dare to hit. Even if Ouyang Xing ordered them to be hit, they would not dare to hit them too hard. Jiang Zhao inexplicably felt that he had been wronged. He did not know where this feeling came from, but he just felt that he had been wronged. As time passed, he felt that he had been wronged even more. If he really had any improper thoughts towards Ouyang Yen, what thoughts did he have? Today, when he got out of bed with Ouyang Yen, he did not say a word and suffered what he deserved. But he did not. He could not figure out how he could have gotten into Ouyang Yan's bed. But it was too chaotic now. He could not figure it out. He also needed to vent. Among the messy people in the room who wanted to pull Yi Er away, he picked one to vent his anger and beat them up one by one. Yi Er was still beating the mistress without any distractions. Jiang Zhao angrily hit the servant who wanted to throw Yi Er out of the family Ouyang. Yi Er was beating them up happily. She vented all the anger and humiliation she had accumulated over the past few days. At this moment, she did not want to be rational, did not want to think about the consequences, did not want to compromise. She only wanted to be Mrs. Jiang in a dignified manner for once. In order to let her beat them up happily, the two men did not stop their hands and feet for a moment. Yi Er could not hear the falling and hitting in the room at all. At this time, Ouyang Yen and Yi Er were fighting so fiercely that they were lying on the bed. Yi Er was still riding Ouyang Yen and holding her hand tightly. He glanced at Ouyang Xing and smiled at the messy people in the room. He laughed coldly and said, "Do you want to see how your miss looks without her underwear and panties? I'll open your eyes, okay?" Ouyang Xing looked at the men and women in the room. He raised his hand and pointed at Yi Er. His fingertips were trembling as if they were cramping. "Yun Yi, you dare. Ha, fourth master, you also want to see. I want to see your shameless and shameless granddaughter. What kind of figure does she have? Take a look at what kind of woman can seduce someone else's husband. Yun Yi, you vulgar woman." Ouyang Xing felt that he was about to have a heart attack. Yi Er slowly pulled the quilt on Ouyang Xing's chest. "I'm vulgar. I can't play with the elegance of you people." Ouyang Yen anxiously shouted, "Grandpa. Tell them to get out. Tell them to get out. Yun Yi, don't do anything stupid." "I won't do anything stupid. I'll pull it down bit by bit. I won't lift it up directly. I promise I won't do anything stupid." Yi Er's face still had the marks of her own fingers. When she smiled, she looked like a poppy with countless thorns. Ouyang had thought of many outcomes, but he never thought that Yi Er would throw caution to the wind like this. In his eyes, the scandals of the rich and powerful could be covered up and kept secret. In addition, Yi Er's father was in trouble. She wouldn't provoke Jiang Zhao. At this moment, he didn't dare to think too much about it. He asked the servants in the room to leave quickly. But he didn't dare to leave. Yun Yi had gone crazy. In fact, Yi Er was holding a knife to her own death by throwing a tantrum. She wanted to die faster. It would be good if she died. She wouldn't have to live like this anymore. She wanted to reward herself before she died. She wanted to release all the suppressed humanity in her. At this moment, she didn't do it for anyone else. She only did it for herself, for her own comfort. At this moment, she didn't want to be the glamorous Mrs. Jiang. She wanted to be the legal wife who could fight against the mistress, beat the mistress, and kill the mistress. Even if it was only for a moment, even if she wouldn't be the legal wife in the future, she didn't care. She didn't want to be Mrs. Jiang anymore. Yi Er used all her strength to hit Ouyang Yen. Her hair was in a ponytail, but now the hairband was gone. Her long hair was spread out, messy, and wet with sweat. Her palms were numb from the pain. No matter how many times she slapped Ouyang Yan's face, her heart was also slapped by herself. Every time she slapped Ouyang Yan, she was slapping herself. She scolded Ouyang Yan for being cheap. She also scolded herself for being cheap. She scolded Ouyang Yan for being shameless. She also scolded herself for being shameless. The people in the room dispersed. Yi Er lost all her strength in an instant. She collapsed and leaned back. Before Ouyang Yan could sit up, Jiang Zhao quickly knelt on the bed, picked up Yi Er and carried her. Fian, drive. Ouyang Xing pulled Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao, you can't leave like this. You have to give me an explanation for what happened today. Jiang Zhao knew that he had fallen into a trap. His eyes narrowed. He didn't have any respect for his elders. Instead, he was full of provocation. Tell me, what explanation do you want? You and Yun Yun must get married. Fourth Master, do you want me to marry again? Jiang Zhao laughed. He called him Fourth Master, not Fourth Grandfather. Ouyang Xing's body shook. Jiang Zhao, don't think that this matter can be settled. Then we'll settle it slowly. Settle it clearly. Jiang Zhao carried Yi Er and quickly walked down the stairs. After getting into the car, Jiang Zhao carried the unconscious Yi Er and asked Qin Fian, how did Yun Yi find us? Qin Fian touched the small bruise on his face and sighed. Brother, sister-in-law couldn't find you, so she ran to the apartment in the north of the city. Later, she called me to ask for family Ouyang's address. She cried on the phone and said that we bullied her. She said that if I didn't bring her to find you, she would cause a ruckus at the family Ouyang's address. Sister-in-law is probably hurt this time. What do you think we should do? Jiang Zhao sat in the back seat and held Yi Er in his arms. He raised her head with his elbow and lowered it to her forehead. His other hand gently touched the bruises on her face. His ears were filled with the words she said at family Ouyang. She said she was sorry. Sorry. She said it was all gone. He didn't know how to suppress the pain in his chest at this moment. The skin under his fingertips was uneven. She was ruthless enough to do it. That was her own face. She really could do it. He was right in front of her. She didn't hit him. She hit herself. She hit Ouyang Yan. She only didn't hit him. At this moment, he wanted to shake her awake and let her give him a good beating. He should have listened to her and gone home for dinner. Why did he care about his reputation? Why did he care about family ties? After what happened today, all of them were gone. I didn't turn off my phone myself. Jiang Zhao leaned his face against Ye's. Qin Fian drove. I know. At least you never turn off your work phone. I can't even get through to family Ouyang's landline. Brother, I think the Ouyang clan has teamed up to set a trap for you. I know too. Ouyang Xing wants to force me to get a divorce and marry Ouyang Yan. Brother, then are you going to marry Sister Yan? If I wanted to marry her, I wouldn't have married Yun Yi when she came back to High City. Jiang Zhao knew that Yun Hongwei would be angry if he brought Yi home like this. But at this time, he had to bring Yi home. At least Yi would be a little concerned with Yun Hongwei at home. If they were outside, he didn't know what would happen today. He was afraid. When he thought of Yi saying, "It was all gone," he felt a wave of fear. The person in his arms moved. Jiang Zhao sat up straight. Yi woke up and wanted to leave Jiang Zhao's arms. She struggled to no avail. Jiang Zhao, let go of me. Yun Yi, stop fooling around. Let's go home. Fian is still here. Let's not fool around here, okay? Fian. Fian saw everything. Why are you still pretending? Let's go home and fool around. You can fool around however you want. Let's not fool around outside, okay? No. Jiang Zhao, stay away from me. Come and see, Hongcha 866. Chapter 620. Jiang Zhao was a person who cared about his reputation, and he would not say anything to coax a woman in front of others. He would feel embarrassed. No matter what, a man should act like a man. The world belonged to men. A woman only needed to take care of the house and take care of the children. She did not need to be a strong woman like his mother. Strong women were too difficult to serve. Therefore, he felt that obedient women were especially cute. He was used to Gigai's Yi, the obedient Yi. But from today onwards, Yi would be different. Honey, let's stop fooling around. Let's go home and talk. Even if Qin Fian was here, he still coaxed her. Go home. Yi sat on Jiang Zhao's lap and was hugged tightly by him. Her nose twitched, and tears rolled down her cheeks again. She looked out the window at the receding shadows of the trees, lights, and thousands of high-rise buildings. I don't have a home anymore. I sold all my family's houses. After her father committed a crime, she lost her home. Qin Fian and Jiang Zhao had been brothers for many years, so he naturally knew Jiang Zhao's character. He held the steering wheel with one hand and plugged the earphone cable into the MP3 player. He put the earphones in his ears and began to listen to the music, humming a few lines from time to time. Although Jiang Zhao's words were gentle, his actions were very rough. He restrained the woman in his arms in any way he could. Yun Yi, we are husband and wife. Our marriage certificate is stamped with a steel seal. Right? Yi turned her head and looked seriously into Jiang Zhao's eyes. When had his gaze ever been like this? In the past, when he said this, he was domineering and teasing, but he was not innocent. Pitiful. Now, the pitiful person was clearly the one who was pitiful, but he was pitiful. At this moment, she smiled bitterly. It was a kind of pain that neither heaven nor earth responded. This man really wanted to enjoy the happiness of having two wives. However, she could not hold on any longer. She shook her head and did not speak anymore. If he wanted to hug her so domineeringly, then so be it. In any case, he was used to it. He was used to being so domineering. He was used to getting whatever he wanted and having others give him whatever he wanted. But in the future, she wouldn't give it to him anymore. She couldn't afford it. Jiang Zhao saw that Yi Er had stopped arguing with him. She even smiled and shook her head. She did not speak, argue, or make a fuss. He did not say a word. It was too quiet. It was so quiet that all the pores on his body were trembling with fear. Fear, he had felt it before. At that time, when she was in a car accident and unconscious, he felt fear every day. He watched as she turned her head away and looked out of the window. She didn't struggle, resist, or get angry. She just remained silent. He held her by the shoulder and shook her. Hey! Yunyi, go ahead and make a fuss. I don't care about you anymore. If you want to make a fuss, go ahead, alright. You can make a fuss however you want. Yi Er wanted to block out Jiang Zhao's voice from her eardrums, but she couldn't. Not to mention his voice, even his breath was burning her eardrums inch by inch. I've already made a fuss. Don't talk anymore. Let me be alone. Jiang Zhao, let me be alone, alright? No, he couldn't let her be alone. If she continued to be quiet, he didn't know what would happen. He smiled and said gently, Yunyi, let's talk. Yunyi, let's talk. Yunyi, we've been married for so long. I've been busy and haven't had the time to go on our honeymoon. Honeymoons are popular now. Let's discuss where we should go before we get married, alright? I haven't had a long vacation this year. I'll apply for a vacation in the next few days. Let's go out together. I'll take you to relax, alright? Yunyi, what kind of weather do you like? Is it the tropical scenery or the northern European snow sea? Or the blue sea or the soft beach? Or the rainforest? Yunyi, you're so good at cooking. Why don't we go to a few more countries and try the delicacies of those places? You're so smart, you'll definitely learn to be authentic. In the future, we can also eat authentic foreign food at home. It'll definitely be better than a 5-star restaurant. Yi Er took in a long breath. Her hair was very messy, and the parts of her hair that weren't in good condition looked very coarse. At this moment, her messy hair made her face look very small and very pale. Her shoulders had been drooping the whole time, and her neck was soft as if it had no bones. This long breath interrupted Jiang Zhao's vivid speech. Ah, Zhao, she was powerless, sighing, weak, slightly choked, and a touch of despair. The ripples in her eyes blurred the scenery outside the window. When Jiang Zhao heard this, he lowered his head and rested it on Yi Er's thin shoulder. He held her other shoulder tightly in his hand, and the bones in his hand rubbed against his nerves. His heart was filled with suppressed pain. That kind of pain could have been disguised by talking loudly, but when he heard her use that voice to call him affectionately in the past, the pain came and there was nowhere to hide. Yunyi, it's better if you don't say anything. I'm also very confused. Don't say anything. Don't tell me your feelings. Don't say anything, okay? Jiang Zhao was pulled by two opinions in his mind. One opinion was to let her talk more, let her make a fuss, don't let her be bored. The other opinion was to not let her say anything. The words that came out of her mouth would definitely not be good. It would definitely be something that he could not accept. He did not want her to say anything. Ah, Zhao, the mist in her eyes was blinked out of her eyes, and the scenery in front of her became clear again. She saw through the night after the luxury faded away. It was too lonely. He pulled out his earplugs and looked at Yi Er, whose eyes were swollen like peaches. Sister-in-law, have a good rest. Do you want me to get someone to accompany you shopping tomorrow? I'll have a good rest. Fian, you should go back. It's been hard on you. I'm sorry for disturbing you today. Yi Er was polite and distant. She wanted to end this oppressive atmosphere as soon as possible. After getting out of the car, Yi Er watched as Qin Fian's car drove away. Her shoulder was still held by Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao, let go. I feel a little disgusted being hugged by you like this. When Yi Er said this, her head was very low and her voice was also very low. At this time, although the street lights in Ninth Mansion were shining brightly, there were no sounds of insects because it was the middle of winter. Because of the low temperature, the sound of breathing in the air was deliberately heavier, as if it was difficult to breathe. At the end of her voice, there was a sigh of relief. Jiang Zhao let go of her. Yun Yi, about what happened today, I didn't ask you to forgive me. Yi Er pursed her lips and looked up at Jiang Zhao. She looked at his innocent face. He would never ask her to forgive him. He could have sex with Ouyang Yan anywhere he wanted. He had already given her a lot of face today. He let her, the first wife, bask in the limelight outside. He could hit the second wife however he wanted. Should she kneel down and kowtow to him? Jiang Zhao continued. You can punish me. I've done something wrong, so I should be punished. Jiang Zhao's mind was in a knot again. He turned around and punched the stone door pillar. What was he doing? It was just admitting his mistake. Why was he so unwilling to admit his mistake? He clearly wanted her to forgive him, but he felt that he wasn't in the wrong. He wanted to slap himself. How did he become so stubborn? Jiang Zhao, let's go back. Let's talk. Yi Er turned around and went into the building. Jiang Zhao quickly chased after Yi Er and pulled her back. Yun Yi. He looked at Yi Er's blank expression. She wasn't as agitated as she was at the family Ouyang. However, God's sorrow sighed. The fingerprints on her face constantly reminded him that he was the one who had slapped her. Although she had done it herself, he was the one who had slapped her. Not only had he slapped her face, but he had also slapped her somewhere he couldn't see. Yun Yi, Daddy is at home. Jiang Zhao knew that he was being despicable at this moment. He knew what Yi Er wanted to talk to him about and what she wanted to argue with him about. Yi Er had always been calm. Even if she wasn't, she would pretend to be calm. She had been like this from the beginning when he first met her. She was clearly afraid and timid, but she dared to look into his eyes without blinking. No matter how coldly and fiercely he threatened her, she didn't back down. He knew that she could pretend. Just like now. She was clearly upset, but she was using a blank expression to hide it. She had to pretend to be calm. He couldn't go along with her. He knew that he was in the wrong. Although he also felt that it was ridiculous, he couldn't let her do as she pleased. He despicably hinted to her that there was an elderly person at home. They couldn't quarrel. They had to be harmonious and couldn't hurt the elderly. He knew that she was filial and could never bear to let Yun Hongwei worry about her happiness. He knew that she would smile in front of Yun Hongwei, but he was worried that she wouldn't be able to continue pretending. He was worried that she would make a fuss. He was worried that Yun Hongwei would force them to divorce. Welfare, Hongcha 866. Chapter 621. Yi Er smiled bitterly and shook her head again. Jiang Zhao had lost count of how many times he had seen her smile like this tonight, and every smile was bitter. He suddenly wondered if he had never given her a sweet life. When he looked at her, Yi Er said, "Yeah, I know. I still want you to help me with Dad's matter, but Jiang Zhao, we still have to talk about what happened today. I won't argue with you. Regarding Dad's matter, if you're willing to help me in the future, then help me. If you're unwilling to help me, then I'll think of another way. I won't make things difficult for you again. I won't make things difficult for you. You have to be free too. Jiang Zhao heaved a sigh of relief. At this moment, he finally understood the meaning behind her smile. He had misunderstood. He reached out and rubbed his face. That's right, the problem she was most worried about was not what he was thinking, but Yun Hongwei's case. Since when did he think that she cared about letting Yun Hongwei see her happy? Forget it all. No matter what, you don't want Dad to worry, right? Alright, I'll be careful. Let's go up, sit down, and have a good talk, okay? Yi Er didn't want to argue anymore. She walked to the elevator door and reached out to press the button. Jiang Zhao walked to her side. Yun Yi, when we get home, I'll help you apply the medicine. There's a mirror at home. Have you forgotten? Yi Er looked coldly at the numbers that were coming down. Jiang Zhao looked up and closed his eyes. She didn't even need him to apply the medicine. The elevator door opened. Jiang Zhao reached out to grab Yi Er's shoulder. Yi Er said, "Didn't I tell you? Don't touch me." Jiang Zhao's arm hung awkwardly in the air. He felt that he was especially shameless at this moment. Really, he had clearly done something wrong to her, yet he still wanted to thicken his skin and try to get closer to her. She already despised him, yet he still wanted to treat her words as if they were her words. Her words were bullshit. He had never been so thick-skinned in his life outside. But, what could he do? He watched as the elevator door was about to close. He stepped in with his long legs and said angrily as usual, "Why didn't you wait for me? You didn't even wait for your husband. What are you trying to do?" Yi Er felt that if he treated her as a normal person, he would know that she wasn't in the mood to talk nonsense with him. Yi Er didn't say a word. The elevator went up steadily and quickly, but Jiang Zhao felt like a year had passed in this quiet space. The elevator finally let out a ding sound, breaking this damned suffocating atmosphere. He followed Yi Er out of the elevator. The two of them walked towards the door of the living room. After opening the door, Yi Er stood with her back facing the door. When Yun Hongwei opened the door and called for them, Yi Er reached out and wrapped her arms around Jiang Zhao's neck. She kissed him. Although Jiang Zhao knew that Yi Er was afraid that Yun Hongwei would see the wound on her face, he still kissed her passionately. When he hugged her body and sucked on her lips, he sent his breath into her mouth. It was always easy to get excited when their saliva collided. Especially now, when his large hand moved from her back to the back of her neck. His fingers dug into her hair and rubbed her scalp. Those were all feelings that he could always feel whenever he reached out his hand. His mind was blank, and he couldn't recall that memory no matter how hard he tried. He only knew that he had fallen asleep due to exhaustion. He slept very soundly, and that was it. Tonight, he wanted to tell her that it was a misunderstanding. But even he didn't understand the situation. How could he have the courage to tell her that it was a misunderstanding? When Yun Hongwei opened the door, he saw the couple kissing passionately. He immediately turned his back. "Yi Er, I'm going to sleep first. Don't stand outside. Rest early. Jiang Zhao still has to work tomorrow." He spoke very quickly. After he finished speaking, he ran back to his room as if he was escaping. Yi Er heard the sound of footsteps fading away. She heard the sound of the door closing and locking. She let go of Jiang Zhao's neck. Jiang Zhao hugged her even tighter. "You need go in." She pushed him away slowly with both hands on his chest. Then she turned around and went in to change her shoes. Today, she didn't get Jiang Zhao a pair of slippers. She also didn't put his shoes back into the shoe cabinet. Jiang Zhao opened the shoe cabinet and took out his slippers. She took off her slippers and put them on the floor. After changing, she put her leather shoes back into the shoe cabinet and closed the door. He stood there in a daze for a long time. he didn't want to go upstairs. He wanted to escape. After hesitating for a long time, he still closed the door and went upstairs. When he entered the bedroom, he saw that Yi-er had only taken off her coat and was applying ointment to her face. He closed the door and locked it. Then he walked over and took a chair to sit beside Yi-er. Yun-yi, let me apply it for you. He reached out to take the small round glass box in Yi-er's hand. Yi-er raised her hand and avoided him. She said calmly, "The mirror is quite convenient. There's no need." Jiang Zhao retracted his hand resentfully. After Yi-er finished applying the ointment, she looked at herself in the mirror. The finger marks on the right side of her face were higher than the right side. Her eyes were swollen too. She had cried today. Luckily, Dad didn't see her like this. Jiang Zhao stood up and stood behind Yi-er. His palm rested on her shoulder. Yun-yi, let's sleep. Okay. Yi-er also stood up. Go and take a shower. Do me a favor and don't let me smell another woman on you. Jiang Zhao said, okay. But he didn't forget to check if the door was locked from the inside before he went to the bathroom. Jiang Zhao went into the bathroom and almost casually applied the shower gel on his body before quickly rinsing it off. He wiped the water off and went back to the bedroom. He found that Yi-er was already sitting up and leaning against the headboard. He felt relieved and pulled the blanket aside. He lay down. Yi-er sat there and tilted her head to look at Jiang Zhao. In the past, she would have thought that she was an eyesore, but now she suddenly didn't care. She had ended up like this because she cared too much about him. Originally, she wouldn't have been heartbroken or hurt. His cheating had nothing to do with her. But now that she cared about him, she cared about his behavior. She cared about whether his body or heart belonged to someone else. During this process, she was in great pain. She had always thought that she could bear this pain and that she could completely control and regulate it. But what happened today made her realize that she couldn't regulate it. It was just that nothing had happened that could release the pain that she had been suppressing. Today, she had released it. The pain was like needles on her back, chest, body, and heart. It was everywhere. When the pain reached its peak, she needed to be numb and numb. She needed to give up all her senses and give up on the source of the pain. Everyone yearned for happiness and feared pain. She had always thought that pain could be exchanged for happiness. But the person she fell in love with was Jiang Zhao, a man with a mistress. So her pain was destined to not be exchanged for happiness. It would only be more painful. She breathed out shakily and called out his name with a trembling voice. Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao turned around and adjusted the blanket. Yun-yi, I'm very sleepy. It's too late. If you have anything to say, let's talk tomorrow. Jiang Zhao, actually between us, Yi-er heard the man's even breathing. Although it was even, it was much heavier than usual. It was as if he was afraid that others couldn't hear that his breathing was even. Yi-er raised her head and leaned against the soft back of the bed. When she stared at the ceiling, tears fell from the corners of her eyes. Her life was deformed. When she was the daughter of a wealthy family, it was just like what her mother said. She didn't behave like the daughter of a wealthy family at all. Now that she was in dire straits, she learned how to conduct herself. She could actually change roles so quickly. At that time, she knew that there was a kind of human nature that was forced out of her. Ever since her father went to prison, she hadn't been able to be herself properly. Whenever she met people with power and influence, she had to be pleasant and pleasant. She always felt that if there was any chance that she could build a relationship with her father, she wouldn't let it go. She was deformed and twisted the complete human nature that she should have. She was already used to using those things on her husband. However, she didn't get the love she wanted. All she got was betrayal. In fact, she really wanted to live for herself. Really, purely for herself. Just like that night when she beat up the Ouyang Yen. At that time, she felt so good that she didn't care about anything. She wasn't afraid of anyone. She just dared to go all out. If we get divorced, you won't care about my father anymore, right? The sound of her sniffling was a little loud. She reached out and pulled the tissue from the tissue box on the bedside table. She rolled it into a ball and rolled it over her eyes. She knew that with Jiang Zhao's status, he wouldn't divorce easily unless he was really widowed. Jiang Zhao closed his eyes and continued to breathe. He listened to her sniffling. He also wanted to take a piece of tissue for her to wipe her tears. He also knew that he had let her down today. He would just pretend that he was shameless to the end. Anyway, he hadn't thought of how to talk about it now. He would just deal with it like this. If she wanted to quarrel, he would let her quarrel. If she wanted to make a fuss, he would let her make a fuss. He would just not respond. He didn't want to talk. He didn't want to talk to her. He didn't want to say a word. He knew that as long as he said a word, her grievances would come more violently. She would want to say things like, forget it, and divorce even more. In short, he would say all these things. He wouldn't talk to her about these things. He also knew that she was really wronged. He had wronged her. He would just treat him as a good-for-nothing. He would make it up to her in the future. Now wasn't the best time to talk. He had to avoid the topic that she wanted to talk about. Jiang Zhao, Yi Er knew that Jiang Zhao wasn't asleep. If he was, he wouldn't be lying on his side like this. Even his shoulders were stiff. She knew that his back was stiff under the blanket. He was just passively resisting her. He just didn't want to get a divorce. He didn't want to argue with her. Jiang Zhao, actually, I don't want a divorce at all. Really? Her throat seemed to be on fire. Her mouth was very dry, so she stuck out her tongue and licked her lips. When she licked the wet and salty liquid, she thought that it could quench her thirst. Instead, she became even thirstier. You have such good conditions. You're so good-looking. You're so tall. Your family is so rich. You have such a strong background. You're also highly educated and have a high working status. I think that there is no man in this world who is more outstanding than you. Yi Er covered her mouth and started crying. Her tears diluted the ointment on her face. She kept wiping away her new tears with tissue, causing her face to hurt a little. Jiang Zhao, who was under the blanket, clutched the bed sheets tightly. He closed his eyes. He thought that he was done for. He was really done for. Because Yi Er said that she actually didn't want a divorce. But she didn't say it. But he wouldn't agree to it. Impossible. Just treat him as a bastard. He wouldn't get a divorce. Jiang Zhao. Yi Er's voice was getting more and more nasal. She cried until her temples and nose hurt. She couldn't breathe, so she exhaled through her mouth. Jiang Zhao, I don't know why I lost to you just like that. I used to think that I could afford to lose, but now I realize that I can't afford to lose. Do you still remember our bet? Jiang Zhao's heartstrings were greatly shaken. He suddenly opened his eyes, and his vision was hazy. His temple, which was leaning against the pillow, was wet. He didn't know when it started, but it had actually become wet. The dense pain in his heart was clearly transmitted to his nerves. Jiang Zhao, although I love you and have loved you for a long time, I still want a divorce. I don't want to please you anymore. I don't want to humiliate myself. It's fine if you don't help me with Dad's matter. I know that you asked me to get close to Xia Qian in the past so that she could use the media to expose the mastermind. I won't let Xia Qian take this risk. I will bear all the consequences. Now, I just want a divorce. Add Shinwu 799. Chapter 622. Jiang Zhao knew that he did not hear wrongly. She said that she had lost. She said that she loved him. It was as if the dark sky was suddenly split open by lightning, and the world was illuminated by the white light. Almost instantly, he turned over and sat up. His upper body was still naked, and there was not a trace of excess flesh on his muscular body. She said that she wanted him to do a good deed and wash away the smell of other women. He did not know if he had washed himself clean. At that time, he only wanted to deal with her first and not let her run away. He did not know where this thought came from, but he kept feeling that she was going to run away. Perhaps it was because he had accidentally changed the channel on TV. After being caught in bed, women usually ran away from the door. Although she did not run away at that time, she could vent. After that, he always had a thought that she would leave him at any time, when he was not paying attention. This feeling made him feel unsafe at all. He was so flustered that he felt like a cat's claws could scratch him at any time. Yi Er did not take a shower. She only took off her coat and wore a round-neck sweater. She was still wearing her pants and socks. She just sat on the bed and had no intention of sleeping at all. She looked at Jiang Zhao. She saw that his eyelashes were still a little wet, and she saw that he was looking at her in a daze. She did not know which sentence of hers had touched this man so much. It turned out that he could also be touched. After hurting her, he was touched to the point that his eyes were filled with soft heartache and reluctance. Jiang Zhao leaned over and hugged Yi Er. His arms tightened and he used force to pull her into his embrace. He wrapped his palm around her head and let her face lean against his. The tears on her face were sticky with the ointment. The ointment smelled of mint, but he could smell the salty tears. It was very clear. The lines of her sweater rubbed against his skin. It was a little itchy, but when he touched her and felt her tremble, he felt that it hurt to touch her. Yi, can you forgive me? At first, he said that he did not ask for her forgiveness. No matter how she punished him, he deserved it. But now, he hoped that she would forgive him. If she forgave him, this page would be over. If she forgave him, they could continue to live a good life. He knew that he was a jerk, but he still wanted her to turn the page. He had never thought that he would hear the word love from Yi Er's mouth. She had said that she had fallen in love with him a long time ago. Was he too slow to react, or was he too caught up in the way they knew each other? And the medium that brought them together? His heart felt like it had been covered with glue, and someone had quickly dried it with a hairdryer. The glue had dried and shrunk, causing his heart to tighten. He wanted her love, but he didn't want to get it by ending their marriage. He would rather she never say it out loud. Jiang Zhao, Yi Er's face was pressed against Jiang Zhao's. She felt that his face was a little hot, like the carbon dioxide exhaled from his pores was scalding. You don't need my forgiveness. Jiang Zhao Yi Er shouted a few times in her heart. His breath was too hot, and his voice was too bewitching. She was most afraid that he would treat her well. Even if it was just a little bit would make her endlessly grateful. She would wag her little tail to please him. This way, she could get more next time. Even if he had not treated her well at this time, and just called her Yunyi gently, her heart started to flutter, and her heart started to beat. He did not call her Ouyang Yen. He called her Little Fox, and he called her Yunyi. There was no Yi Er. Yunyi. When she first heard him call her Yunyi, she felt that it was not very intimate. It was as if he was ordering her around. Later, he felt that it was fine even if he did not call her Yunyi. Yunyi, at least to him, was still considered special. Actually, she was just a cloud floating in the sky with nowhere to rely on. Although she had once thought that Jiangzhou was her sky, the sky was too big, and there was no place for her to stay. At this time, the warm sunlight from him and the Ouyang Yan had finally accumulated more moisture in her body. The dark clouds were dense, and she was going to be free. It fell and turned into rain. She could only rely on the mountains and rivers. It's not like that. Yunyi, I need your forgiveness. I know that it's useless for me to say anything now. Please forgive me. The man's palm hugged the woman's shoulder and lifted her away. He looked into Yi Er's eyes. Yunyi, forgive me. Let's live well. I'll definitely make it up to you in the future. I didn't treat you well in the past, so I'll treat you even better in the future, okay? Apprehension, uneasiness, embarrassment, heartache, regret. There was no word that could describe his current feelings. Even if all of them were added together, it would still not be enough. Asking for but not getting. Getting from nothing. Getting and fading away. He experienced all these processes in an instant. He always thought that he could not get what he wanted. Suddenly, she said that she loved him. Suddenly, he got what he wanted. Suddenly, she said that she did not want him anymore. Jiangzhou, Yi Er brushed away Jiangzhou's hand and lay down. She was like a female corpse, lying down straight. The tight sweater wrapped around her body, and he could see the ups and downs of her emotions caused by her breathing. Jiangzhou, marriage is not like my parents. It's not like yours, and it's definitely not like ours. Yi Er closed her eyes. She did not look at Jiangzhou's shadow when she spoke. Otherwise, she would not be able to continue. Only a loving family will have happiness. Jiangzhou, I'm too tired. The feeling of fighting alone is too scary. No one can be strong enough to declare war on an army with a suit of armor. I shouldn't have made that bet with you back then. I lost so badly. Jiangzhou clenched his fists and held his breath. The sound of a woman taking a deep breath was the most commonly heard sound in this room. Only by doing so could she breathe again. Yi Er raised her wrist and placed it on her eyes. Tears flowed down her cheeks. Shouldn't people who can't afford to lose cry? Ching Su said that if you shed too many tears, it would turn into horse urine. She had also thought about not crying anymore, but she also knew that sometimes people would be forced to be strong, and sometimes they would be forced to not be strong. I'm not as pretty as her, not as gentle as her, not as dignified as her, not as sensible as her, not as educated as her, not as good 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 as her. Not as good as her, 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 not as good as her. Not as good as her, 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 not as good as her. Not as good as her. No matter how sad I was, I didn't dare to make you angry. I wanted to smile at you, I wanted to act in front of you, I wanted to be good, I wanted to be obedient, I wanted to be magnanimous like Ouyang Yen. I learned from Ouyang Yen and forgot about myself. When I was trying to please you, I treated you as my everything, but I didn't have a place in your heart. Woo! Woo! Yi Er suppressed her voice, but she could still feel the heart-wrenching pain. The past reappeared in front of her eyes. He ruthlessly told her that not just anyone could threaten him, not just anyone could provoke him. He tore her apart and punished her. He smiled wickedly and asked her, sexual bribery. Under the shade of the tree, his eyes were cold as he said, Yun. What are you doing? She was full of confidence and looked up to meet his eyes. Jiang, I want to marry you. She clenched her fists and cheered herself on. Go for it, Yunyi, this man is yours. She rushed to the apartment in the north of the city and dragged him, who was fully dressed, out of the Ouyang Yan's bed and dragged him home. She rushed to the family Ouyang's old residence and watched the naked him find his underwear and get out of bed. Along the way, she was exhausted and felt that she could not love him anymore. She did not know why she was so brave at that time. Step by step, she was so brave. When he tore her apart, she dared to talk to him. When he ignored her, she dared to go to his door and bribe him. When he had someone he loved, she dared to sabotage him. She rushed out and set him up. She got Xia Qian to find a lot of equipment to threaten him and force him to marry her. Even if he had someone he loved, she dared to cheer herself on and swear that this man was hers. Now that she thought about it, it was so funny. What right did she have to dare to do that? She was really the most arrogant woman in the world. She was just a woman who did not have anything she wanted. Yi Er breathed out shakily. There were droplets of water dripping down her face, but her breath was all transferred to someone else's mouth through their lips and teeth. The man's slightly cold lips were on her lips. He was kissing her softly, as if he was deeply in love with her and was struggling to move forward. Yunyi, you didn't. You didn't fight alone. Yunyi, I have nothing to do with the Ouyang Yen. We broke up many years ago and I didn't get together with her. Yunyi, I love you. I love you too. This explanation seemed to be too late. In the past, he did not need to explain or expose her. He liked it when she was willing to be jealous. If he had known that this would be the outcome, he would not have tested her. He did not want to at all. Now, although he was confused about his affair, it was as if a nail had been hammered into a board. This was retribution, right? This was retribution for wronging her, right? I love you too. When he said this, he did not feel that it was pretentious. In the past, he would have felt that it was pretentious to say these words. He listened, those words that she said, those words that accused him, those words that accused him. He gritted his teeth and endured the pain in his heart. The pain came up. He heard her say that he was her everything, but she did not have a place in his heart. His heart was filled with her place, but he thought that he did not have a place in her heart. How much did he miss? What did he miss? If he did not miss it, she would not have been hurt like this today. She raised her wrist to cover her eyes. The finger marks on her face jumped out at any time, reminding him of his crimes. When he kissed her, he said, Yunyi, I love you. I love you too. The low male voice played a beautiful movement in the room, circling around and not retreating. It was clearly a melodious cello, but at the end of the note, a sorrowful arrow was added. The man choked softly, like a curse, like a shackle, suddenly shrouding the despairing woman lying on the bed. Yi Er had been digging her heart out by herself. Her hands were full of blood. She wanted to dig him out of her heart. She had finally dug it out with great difficulty, but he reached out a hand and squeezed it hard. After squeezing it, he ignored her pain and squeezed it hard. Attention, Songshu 566. Chapter 623. All the blood in her body was flowing backward. The words, I love you too, released all the beasts in her heart, roaring and rushing out of her body. Yi air covered her mouth, not letting Jiang Zhao kiss her again. She closed her eyes tightly, her other hand clutching the bed sheets under her. When she clutched them, all her joints turned green and white, as if she was going to crush the cotton bed sheets into powder. Her crying was suppressed and sorrowful, her body trembling like the autumn wind sweeping the leaves. Jiang Zhao bent over and hugged her, his forehead resting on her head. Seeing her cry like this, his heart ached unbearably. He didn't know how much sour liquid was poured into his heart, oppressing him heavily. Yunyi, I love you too. Forgive me. Yi air wanted to cry loudly, very loudly, but her father was downstairs. She felt that her life was so oppressive. This man told her at this time that he loved her. He said that he loved her too. Suddenly, she pushed Jiang Zhao away, jumped off the bed, rushed to the door, and quickly turned the doorknob. Jiang Zhao also jumped off the bed and rushed over, but Yi air had already rushed out of the door. In the family Ouyang's old mansion, the servants were trembling in fear, not daring to sleep. The main building's lights were all on. Ouyang Yen lay on the bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. She still didn't get up to put on her clothes, her body wrapped in the blanket. The family doctor was treating the wounds on her face. Her face was so swollen that it couldn't be seen clearly. Her cheeks had turned purplish red, and when swollen, they looked bloody, forming a sharp contrast with her snow-white forehead. If a photo was taken and cut from the middle, no one would think that it was the same part of the face. Ouyang Xing stood at the side, like an ice sculpture, exuding a cold and terrifying aura. Grandpa. Ouyang Yen called softly. Yun Yun, after you're done, have a good sleep. Grandpa, I feel terrible. Jiang Zhao just held my hand and asked Yunyi to hit me. I feel terrible. At this time, her unwillingness had disappeared and was replaced by hatred. She thought that after today, Jiang Zhao would not be able to deny it even if he wanted to. Didn't the rich and powerful care about their reputation? Moreover, Jiang Zhao's status was so different. The things he reported last time had already caused such a ruckus. If the fact that they had slept together was exposed, Jiang Zhao wouldn't be able to clear his name even if he had a mouth. In any case, she wanted him. If she wanted him, she didn't care what method she had to use. She had thought that Yunyi would come looking for her. She couldn't wait for more. Last time in the northern part of the city, Yunyi did not dare to offend her at all. However, she did not expect that she would rush out today to make a scene. She also did not expect that Jiang Zhao would not help her at all. When Yunyi hit her, Jiang Zhao only sat at the end of the bed and silently put on his clothes and pants. It was as if there was a silent movie in the room. He did not even stop her. This made her hate him too much. Ouyang Xing thought about the scene that night and trembled in fear. Jiang Zhao and Qin Fian were not good people. At that time, if Qin Fian had not hugged him tightly outside the door, he would have entered the room long ago. Jiang Zhao, that bastard. Yunyi, that little bastard, dared to hit his granddaughter. He would teach her a lesson. Yun Yun, have a good rest. You don't have to go to work tomorrow. I will help you inform the hospital. Ouyang Xing stood there and did not reach out to comfort her. He could not bear to look at her at all. He clenched his fists tightly. This was his most beloved granddaughter. When she was born, she weighed less than 4 kilograms. Even the doctor said that she could not be carried, but he insisted on keeping her. She had been with him since birth. He was the one who raised her single-handedly. Seeing this granddaughter of his grow up gave him an indescribable sense of accomplishment. The family Ouyang's assets could all be given to his grandson, but love, Grandpa, I can't accept this. Grandpa knows. Qin Fian left Ninth Mansion but did not return to his own residence. Instead, he called Shin Kai. In the middle of the night, Shin Kai's personal phone was turned off. However, his work phone could not be turned off. Qin Fian dialed Shin Kai's work number. He waited for the other side to ring for a while before picking up. Shin Kai's voice sounded very awake. Qin Fian knew that this was work training. No matter how sleepy he was, even if his eyes were not open, his work number's ringtone would ring. A professional would pick up the phone and calmly, politely, and clearly say, "Hello, who is this?" "Shin Kai, are you still in a relationship with a beauty?" Shin Kai listened to such teasing and took the phone away from his ear. He rubbed his eyes and looked at the names saved. He closed his eyes again and pressed the phone to his ear. He jokingly said, "Young Master Qin, who are you with this time?" Fei Yan's car drove towards the south. "I have long heard that young Master Shin is unrestrained and unrestrained. His looks are better than Panin. This one's heart is itching unbearably. I really want to spend a night with young Master Shin. Are you interested? A chance encounter is better than an invitation. Why don't we come out for a drink?" Shin Kai frowned. At this time, he sat up from the bed and rubbed his temples to wake himself up quickly. He lifted the quilt and got off the bed. "Young Master Qin, I'm very expensive." Fei Yan looked at the road sign in front of him and remembered Shin Kai's residence. He smiled and said, "Young Master Shin, name a price. Someone I like, do you think I can't afford it?" Shin Kai tilted his head and put on his clothes while talking nonsense with Qin Fian. "I also like luxury cars and mansions." Fei Yan laughed out loud. "As long as you like it, I'll give it to you." Shin Kai walked into the bathroom and turned on the tap. He reached out and took a handful of water. He splashed it on his face and rubbed it. This time he was completely awake. He looked at himself in the mirror and tidied his hair. He smiled mischievously. "And beauties, I also like them very much. Hurry up, I'm at the entrance of your neighborhood. Dress prettily. This young master won't shortchange you." Shin Kai took a coat and walked out of the bedroom. He changed his shoes at the entrance of the living room. "Do you still need to ask?" He changed his tone and asked very seriously. "Are you at South Gate or North Gate?" "North Gate." "Do you want me to drive the car in?" Fei Yan took out a pair of spectacles from the front of the passenger seat and put it on. "No need. It's too troublesome to register. Later you'll have to call my door to inquire. Too annoying. I'm hanging up." He hung up the phone and put on the coat. He put the phone in his pocket and went out. Shin Kai got into Qin Fian's car and fastened his seatbelt. "Where's the money?" "Money, house, car, beauties, I won't leave you out." Qin Fian smiled evilly. He started the car and leisurely said, "I'm afraid you'll go back on your word. Do you want to write a written agreement?" Qin Fian raised his phoenix eyes and glanced at Shin Kai, who was sitting in the passenger seat. He smiled and said, "And then I'll take the written agreement and report you to the prosecutor's office." Shin Kai let out a long sigh and slapped his thigh. He said angrily, "See, profiteer. You set me up again." Qin Fian smiled. Today, he came to find Shin Kai for the word, "set me up." Brother Kaizi. Shin Kai was the same age as Jiang Zhao and older than Qin Fian. In terms of age, it wasn't a big deal to call him that. But Shin Kai narrowed his eyes and glanced at Qin Fian, who was driving. He raised his hand and put it in gear. "Don't." He put his hand down and looked forward. "You can still call me young Master Shin. Shin Kai, Shin Yuan, Kaizi, all are fine. Don't add brother at the back." If you call me brother, nothing good will come out of it. Shen Kai understood the rules between the young masters of wealthy families very well. He knew that Qin Fian was looking for him for something today. Otherwise, he wouldn't have called him so late at night to chat. Between the young masters of wealthy families in Haiqing, unless they were really related by blood, they wouldn't call him a brother if they were only a few years older than him. Once they called him a brother, it must be something difficult. But why would Qin Fian look for him? Qin Fian drove the car to Qin Palace. Fine, Kaizi, I'm too lazy to call you brother. I still want to act mature. Heh, you're such a beautiful woman. Don't be mature. You're more attractive when you're younger. Qin Fian laughed shamelessly. As long as you like it. In Xia Qian's words, Qin Palace was the most expensive and high-end place to take a bath in Haiqing. Xia Qian's dream was to go to Qin Palace to take a bath when she had money. But Qin Palace wasn't just a place to take a bath. It had food and entertainment. Using Jiang Zhao's words, Shen Kai was just a loafer after taking off his uniform. He was just a loafer that was so handsome that it was bubbling. The car stopped outside the hotel. Shen Kai acted like he had never seen the world. Yo, young Master Qin, everyone knows that the best place in Qin Palace is to take a bath. There's only one hot spring in Haiqing, and it's all occupied by you. So you're not taking me to the hot spring, but to a hotel room? Isn't it better to warm up in the hot spring in a hotel room? Qin Fian turned off the engine. In fact, Shen Kai had always found it interesting. Qin Fian was a well-known homosexual in Haiqing, but the rich young masters were not afraid of being involved with him. They were also not afraid of being misunderstood. They put their arms around each other's shoulders, and some even deliberately went up to him, saying that they wanted to flirt with him. Qin Fian didn't care if they were mocking or teasing him. He didn't reject them all and just played along. Look at how anxious you are. The CEO elevator went straight to the top floor of Qin Palace Hotel. Qin Fian sometimes stayed here. After opening the door, he flipped on all the lights. Then he asked Shen Kai whether he liked Chinese or Western food. He walked to the telephone and dialed the internal line, asking the kitchen to prepare some supper. The top floor was decorated according to the standard of a presidential suite. In Qin Fian's words, he had to experience the service here often to know how to improve it. In this regard, he was different from Jiang Rui, the eldest brother of the Jiang family. Jiang Rui also had the business of many five-star hotel chains in the country, but in his own hotel, he only had a luxury suite for himself to stay in occasionally. After the waiter left, Qin Fian invited Shen Kai to sit down at the table. Shen Kai looked at the high-end Chinese food on the table. Tell me, what's the purpose of this feast at Hongmen? Qin Fian personally poured wine for Shen Kai. The red wine in the decanter smelled fishy. It was red blood, and the blood on the wall was light as if it was washed with water. Feeling a little hungry, he ordered a steak for himself and drank some red wine. His movements were powerful and elegant as he smiled. Kaizi, that last Shen Xian came to the Qin Palace to take a bath that day with a male celebrity. A guest saw them and took a photo. It was a photo of the two of them kissing. Not only were they kissing, but they were also pinching, hugging, and rubbing. At that time, I was worried that the photo was too intimate. So I kindly took the camera down. It took a lot of effort. Attention, Songshu 566. Chapter 624. Shen Kai suddenly laughed. His voice reverberated through the luxuriously decorated room. Young Master Qin, you're simply a beast, Don't talk nonsense. I have a reputation. A small square piece of steak had already been fixed on the shiny steel fork. With another devilish smile, he elegantly opened his mouth and placed the steak into his mouth, chewing slowly. Yes, yes, yes. Your reputation is becoming more and more of a beast. Shinkai's face was smiling, but there was not much of a smile in his eyes. Who knew if that photo was a guest or someone else? Shin Xian, that girl, is becoming more and more immature. Qin Fian clearly had nothing to do with the matter, but he still pretended to care about it. As if it was a family matter. Young people are free to love. You're also a big brother, can't you be more relaxed? Why don't I introduce a few male celebrities to your Feiyu as backup? A grown girl can't be kept at home. She's going to be married off anyway. Ha! Shinkai looked at Qin Fian's phoenix eyes softly. At least he had one around. These rich and powerful families, who would want to be associated with those in the entertainment industry. Not to mention that the male celebrity Shin Xian was fooling around with was a rotten person. He had scandals with many rich women. How could the Shin family let Shin Xian be involved in those scandals? Feiyu is still young. You don't have to worry about her. My grandfather has already found a good family for her. Which family? Secret, ha. Qin Fian was purely talking nonsense. How old was Feiyu? Even if she wanted to be engaged, she would have to graduate from high school. Of course, he knew that Shinkai was only asking this to pass the time. In the process of asking, he must be weighing the pros and cons. Shinkai was not in the mood to joke at this time. Fian, tell me. What do you want for the Xian girl's photos to be given to me? What do you want in exchange? Qin Fian knew Shinkai's personality. He must have already thought about it in his heart to directly state the conditions. If he was willing to state the conditions, it meant that this matter was indeed a taboo for the Shin family. Conditions in exchange. Yes. He wanted a deal. Before he was sure that Shinkai would care about those photos, he would not mention anything else. Qin Fian felt that his intuition was very accurate. Although Ouyang Yen was a lady and would never do anything out of line, she was a calm woman. Yi Er had vented his anger today, and it was hard to say whether he would be retaliated against in the future. The most he could do to retaliate against Yi Er was to put Yun Hongwei in jail again, but the one who would be implicated would be Jiang Zhao. Yen. Ouyang Yen is your subordinate now. Qin Fian used to call Ouyang Yen, elder sister Yen. However, after today's matter, he could not bring himself to call her elder sister Yen. No matter what, he was on his brother's side. Jiang Zhao's attitude was very obvious. He had been set up, and this trap was definitely set by Ouyang Yen. He could not help but be on guard. After all, Jiang Zhao was now in a terrible fix dealing with Yi Er. He could not persuade a married couple, but he had to help trim the branches at the side. And this is not a secret. Shinkai sat lazily in his seat, half of his back supporting the back of the chair. His feet were on his legs, and he was holding a wine glass with a big belly in his hand, turning it clockwise. From time to time, the seat of the glass would rub against the table, making a slight sound. It could be said that Miss had basically played with these rich young masters in High City since they were young. Even if she did not know everything, she could still see some things on the surface. For example, Qin Fian had always called Ouyang Yen, elder sister Yen. Ouyang Yen had been very beautiful, ladylike, and calm since she was young. She could command a bunch of brats to do anything for her. Qin Fian did not want to do anything, so he only cared about sweet talk and called her elder sister Yen happily. What happened to her? Shinkai asked based on his intuition. You know that she likes my brother, right? I know. Shinkai shrugged. His eyes were calm, and his tone was unperturbed. Everyone who had studied at high university, at least those who were close to him, knew. It was natural. Qin Fian's movements were still neither fast nor slow as he cut the steak. I'm not afraid to tell you this now. Now she wants my brother to divorce my sister-in-law. This matter is getting bigger and bigger. Yun Hongwei's matter is not a secret. Last time, someone from the Inspection Institute reported Yun Hongwei's matter, and I more or less heard some rumors. Today, my sister-in-law has offended Ouyang Yen, and I'm worried that she will take revenge on this matter. I know this. All the men in the world are dead, and she wants to hang herself on Jiang Zhao. When Shen Kai said this, he was not at all jealous. He was just narrating it as a joke. Don't worry about this. I'll transfer her to be in charge of ordinary cases. I won't let her touch anything related to Yun Hongwei, okay? After Qin Fian chewed the steak in his mouth, he drank a mouthful of the sweet, fishy liquid and made a tisk sound. Kaizi, this matter is not just like that. I think Fourth Master may want to intervene. I know that there are many secrets in the Inspection Institute that even my brother doesn't know. In fact, I just want to ask you and get to the bottom of it. You know all the clues related to Yun Hongwei's case. I think it will more or less affect my brother's investigation, but I'm not in politics, so I'm afraid it will be much easier to deal with it. Young Master Qin, you have a big appetite. I didn't give your brother any information, but you want to know about a few photos. After she got in, she leaned over the steering wheel and wailed loudly. Her voice was so loud that it sounded terrifying to her own ears. At this time, there were no cars in the underground parking lot. It was so quiet that no sound could be heard clearly. At this time, a woman's cry came out of the parking pants. No matter how good the soundproof glass was, one could still hear the grief in the sobbing. In this enclosed space, she didn't have to worry about her father being sad when he heard her cry. She could cry out all the frustrations and pain in her heart. She let them flow out with her tears until she cried dry. She really wanted to cry all those things dry. Fate was playing with her. After she suffered all kinds of grievances, it told her that everything was a joke. This joke wasn't made at the right time. If it was a little earlier, even if it was just a few hours earlier, she would have become the happiest woman in the world. No one would be happier than her. Because she had received the love of the man she wanted, she would have gone crazy with joy instead of going crazy with pain like she was now. But who would save her at this time? It wasn't that she wanted to pretend to be aloof, it wasn't that she wanted to put on airs. Even in her dreams, she wanted him to say to her, Yunyi, I love you too. But it wasn't at this time. Wasn't it when he had just climbed out of bed with the Ouyang Yen and told her that he had nothing to do with the Ouyang Yen and that they had nothing to do with each other a long time ago? Did he think she was a pig? She had seen it with her own eyes. But in order to not get a divorce, he had said that he had nothing to do with the Ouyang Yen. She had always thought that he was a responsible man, but now he was trying to shirk his responsibilities. The moment she closed her eyes, she would see two bodies hugging each other as they slept. She could still think of more. Before she fell asleep, all the details were as real as if she had seen it with her own eyes. This feeling was like a knife stabbing her with all its might. It was too life-threatening. Jiang Zhao stood at the entrance of the parking lot. He wasn't wearing any underwear or a sweater, only a cashmere coat. At this time, he felt a little empty. The weather was very cold at this time. When the cold wind blew, it directly entered his body through his sleeves. It was very bone-chilling. As he expected, the sound of tires peeling on the speed bump came from the ground. He heard the beep of the card being swiped, and the sound of the tires peeling on the speed bump continued. He could hear his car and the sound of the engine. Yi Er was driving in a hurry, so he opened his arms and closed his eyes. Suddenly, the headlights of the car shone over. Although Jiang Zhao's eyes were closed, he could feel the piercing pain of the strong light. Yi Er pressed the horn, but Jiang Zhao still didn't open his eyes. Even if she wanted to kill him today, he wouldn't let her run out like this. Attention, Hongcha 866. Chapter 625. The wheels on the anti-skid belt sped up quickly, then came to a stop with a screech of the brakes. His grip on the steering wheel was so tight that the veins on his hands could be seen clearly. Jiang Zhao stood in the same spot, one hand still raised, the other hand in his pocket, feeling for the spare car keys in his pocket. He shouted at Yi Er, "Yunyi, get out." Yi Er was unmoved. She put the car in neutral and stepped on the accelerator. She wanted the other party to hear her anger and yell and immediately give in. Jiang Zhao took a step forward, then another step, and another step. Yi Er's palms were sweaty. Her car's headlights were on, and the white light illuminated the fine dust. She could clearly see the expression on the man's handsome face. The steps he took with his slender legs were very heavy. When he spread his long arms, his palms trembled slightly. When he breathed, clouds of white fog condensed, dispersed, and turned into smoke, leaving no trace. She could clearly see the pain in the man's eyes. It was so clear, and she had never seen it before. She didn't know why she could see so many of his emotions in just one night. She had looked into his eyes before, but she couldn't tell. His eyes were too deep, too messy, and never so clear. At that time, his eyes were like the chaos of prehistoric times. A gaze used another language to confuse others. She often saw mirages in his eyes, a sky full of stars, forests, and fog. She had never seen pain. She had always thought that she was the only one who was in pain, and he had never seen her pain. It turned out that he could feel pain too. Because of love. She had never thought that love was sacred, and no one belonged to anyone. Wasn't there a popular saying now? What husband? Weren't they all temporary workers? Nowadays, marriage today and divorce tomorrow happened every day. Marriage took 7 years of dating, divorce took a month to get along. Remarriage, and remarriage were like buying vegetables at the market. Husband and wife were birds in the same forest, but when disaster struck, they flew away separately, just like her parents. When I love you, I love you. When I don't love you, I forget that I once loved you. It was so simple. She didn't believe that her mother had never fallen in love with her father. She didn't believe that when she was in love, her mother felt that all the stones given by her father were diamonds. When she wasn't in love, even the stars in the sky were just stones by the roadside. Love was something that could never be sacred or long-lasting. Therefore, she believed in responsibility and helping each other in times of need. Although she was not yet 20 years old, she still believed that a husband and wife should be together forever. That was the promise given by God. Jiang Zhao was a god in her heart. Today, the god in her heart had stepped down from the altar. He no longer protected her from the wind and rain, and gave her happiness. How could such a filthy person be a god? She didn't mind that he was sinister. She knew that he wasn't honest and wasn't great. It didn't matter. Not to mention that he wasn't a corrupt official. Even if he was, she was willing to be in a difficult position with him. She was willing to take advantage of the people with him. However, there was a type of person who had this kind of charm. He was not a good person. He was after benefits, but he had his position and his job. If he wanted something, he did not need to take advantage of the common people. His methods were not like those brainless people who accepted bribes. He had plenty of ways to earn a lot of money. Jiang Zhao walked towards the car. He saw that the front wheel of the car was starting to turn to the left. He was facing her, and his right hand was in his pocket. He guessed that she would definitely want to start the car and drive past him. Therefore, he started to move to the right. Yi-er rolled down the car window and stuck her head out. "Get out of my way. Where do you want to go? It's none of your business. I want to care. You don't have the right." "I do." When Jiang Zhao walked to the front of the car, he felt for the second button of the car key. He ran with his long legs, and when he felt for the car door, he pressed the remote control. The car door opened with a soft thud. He opened the car door and quickly got in. Yi-er was stunned. Jiang Zhao had already grabbed her hand that was holding the steering wheel. "Yunyi, let's go back." "No." "Okay, where are you going?" "Bring me along." There was no air conditioning in the car, and Yi-er was not wearing a jacket. Jiang Zhao turned on the air conditioning, and there was a low humming sound in the car. Yi-er tried to hit Jiang Zhao's hand, but Jiang Zhao suddenly shifted the car to D gear. "Step on the accelerator." Yi-er listened to Jiang Zhao's words as if she was possessed. She stepped on the accelerator and the car rushed out of the exit. After they left the neighborhood, they took a detour and got on the highway viaduct. There were no cars. Occasionally, there would be a car that would whiz past like a rocket. There was the earth-shattering sound of the exhaust pipes. "Jiang Zhao, I want to divorce you." "I won't divorce you." The Qin family's old residence's landline rang. The helper was still yawning, and her eyes were closed. However, her feet were skillfully and accurately avoiding all obstacles. She was afraid that she would disturb the owner of the building, so she quickly picked up the phone. "Hello, Qin family. Wake Qin Rongfang up. I'm Ouyang Sheng." Ouyang Sheng's voice on the phone was like popcorn. When the helper heard this, she felt that it was a taboo to call the old master by his name. She immediately felt that this was no small matter. "Fourth master, the old master is already asleep. Can you wait until he gets up at 5:30 for his morning exercise? Tell him to get up. Otherwise, he'll regret it tomorrow morning." Ouyang Sheng's aura was too strong. The helper knew that something was wrong and hurriedly said, "Fourth master, wait a moment. I'll get the old lady to inform the old master immediately. Hurry up. What are you waiting for?" The courtyard of a row of high-ranking officials in Wujin Lane in Jiang District was as quiet as a grave at night. When the Jiang family's old residence's landline rang, old Master Jiang and the old lady had already settled down to sleep. Auntie Lu knocked on the door of the two elders' room. People in their old age often slept very little, and it was easy for them to be awakened by the sound of movement. The old lady shouted, "Come in." Auntie Lu was still wearing the family's military coat. She hadn't had time to fix her hair before she hurriedly pushed the door open and entered. The place where the elderly slept was always lit with a faint light. She was afraid that they would accidentally fall when they woke up in the middle of the night. After all, they weren't young people, and falling was no small matter. Seeing that it was the old lady who woke up, she lowered her head and raised her hand to whisper into the old lady's ear, "Zhao Zhao is in big trouble in Haiqing." The old man was shocked. He opened his eyes and was about to sit up. The old lady reached out and pressed on his shoulder. "Sit up slowly. Blood will rush to your head and you'll faint. Something has happened in Haiqing. Don't get sick and cause trouble for the children at this critical juncture." Okay. You'll be fine." The old man raised his hand and pressed it on the back of the old lady's hand. "I got it." Auntie Lu helped the old lady sit up first. She took a thick coat that she wore during the day and draped it over her. Then, she went to the other side of the bed and helped the old man sit up. The old man took the coat from Auntie Lou's hand and stretched his body to drape it over himself. What's going on? The Qin family called. They said that something happened to Zhao Zhao and asked the old man to answer the phone personally. I said to call you, but you have to wait because it's a little slow to wake up. There's no hurry. The old man glared at Auntie Lou, lifted the blanket, and got out of bed. There's no hurry. I thought they'd send you to tell me about it. Why are you not in a hurry? He snorted and took off his slippers. He reached out and turned on all the lights on the bedside table. Instantly, the room was bright. The old lady also lifted the blanket and got out of bed. Xiao Lu, it's not your fault. Go to bed early. I'll wait for you to answer the phone before I sleep, Auntie Lu said quietly. She was used to the old man's temper, so she didn't think much of it. She was just nervous. No matter how nervous she was afraid that the two old men would be too anxious and dizzy. Go and hang up the phone in the living room. I'll turn on my phone and call them. The old man walked to the desk, picked up the old man's phone that had been turned off, and turned it on. I'll go now, Auntie Lou answered and left the room. The old man held the phone away from his eyes and stared at the words on the screen. He looked for the names in the phone book one by one. He dialed. He walked to the window and raised his long arm to open the curtains. With one hand on his waist and the other holding the phone, he straightened his back and looked at the hazy moon outside the window. Almost all the men in the Jiang family had such a back view. It was a majestic and tall back view. It was inherited from old Master Jiang. Soldiers always had such an aura. Without saying anything, they made people submit. Old Qin, old Master Jiang called out calmly. He didn't sound like the usual old fart. After the photo scandal last time, the Qin family didn't call the Jiang family. This time, it was in the middle of the night. Old Master Jiang didn't want to make a big fuss out of anger. He wanted to figure out what was going on as soon as possible. Old Jiang, I'm afraid you'll have to come over this time. He went straight to the point. What happened to Zhao Zhao? He was straightforward. He asked the reason. I'm afraid Zhao Zhao is going to get a divorce this time. Divorce? Old Master Jiang repeated in a doubtful voice. When the old lady heard this, she hurriedly walked over with her small walking stick and said softly, "Use the speakerphone." The old man held the phone further away. When he saw the speakerphone button, he pressed it. Qin Rongfang's voice on the phone was also regretful. You know about the family Ouyang. The old man frowned. Hasn't it been so many years? When Zhao Zhao was about to get married last time, I was wondering why that girl came back. What's going on? Tonight, Zhao Zhao slept in little Yan's bed. Just a while ago, Ouyang Xing called and flipped out. The old man's chest rose. Bastard. He's still fooling around outside after getting married. Didn't you settle it last time? How many days has that scandal been spreading? Old Jiang. This matter has already happened. What do you think we should do? What should we do? Zhao Zhao slept in his ex-girlfriend's bed, and you're asking me what to do. There's more. What else? Can't you just say it all in one breath? The old man couldn't control his anger. The old lady held her small walking stick in her hand and stomped it on the wooden floor. The old man's voice was a little softer. Finish it in one go. Granddaughter-in-law made a scene at the door and beat up that girl from the family Ouyang. She beat her up so badly that she can't go to work tomorrow morning. Ouyang Xing said that he specially asked the driver to send Zhao Zhao home. In the end, after he fell asleep, Zhao Zhao went back to the family Ouyang. Old Jiang, what do you think is going on? What's going on? What did Ouyang Xing say? the old lady interjected. She seemed to be much more sober than the two men. Oh, Yang Xing. He said that his granddaughter can't go out and meet people in the future. He wants Xiao Xiao to divorce and marry his granddaughter. Qin Rongfang couldn't find anyone to come up with an idea at this time and was very anxious. When the newspaper came out a few days ago, it could be said that it was a scandal. Now that he slept in someone else's bed, how could it be called a scandal? Attention Hongcha 866. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.